to be able to solve not only problems, but also to be able to develop goods and services that are needed by these societies and this community. So when you come to the university, that's where you have the brain power in every country or in every economy. Every university has got 3 core mandates. When you go to developing countries, anywhere you go, all universities have got 3 core mandates. It's just that sometimes some of them will focus on one area more than the other, but all universities are supposed to focus on these 3 core mandates, and that is knowledge generation, multidisciplinary research, and of course, they have outreach and collaboration. And so, of course, if you look at these 3 core mandates, they feed into each other. Of course, research will feed into teaching and learning. Research will feed into outreach and collaboration. So if you look at the 3 core mandates, although we said there are 3 core mandates, they are interrelated and they fit into each other. And you realize that at the end of the day, all these mandates come together, churn out products who will be able to act as agents of change within the communities in which they live. So universities are storehouses of knowledge creation, innovation, and technology transfer. And because of that, they are expected to perform these 3 core mandates. But you agree with me that in pursuit of the mandate that have given teaching, research, and extension services, one of the activities they have to perform is to strengthen their linkages with external organizations. And when I say external organizations or stakeholders, of course, we have industry, we have the society, we have the government. So in pursuit of this 3 core mandate, the teaching, research, and extension services, there's a need for them to strengthen, they create and strengthen. So you don't create and leave it there, but you create and strengthen linkages with external organizations. And these linkages are usually done through partnerships, collaborations, partnership with external organizations. And in this instance, we are more interested in the linkages they establish with industry. Of course, you have the triple helix, you have the university, you have industry, you have the government, we have the quad, we have even the quint. So where we add the community, and at a point now we are even adding the environment as part of the helix. The environment has become part because now we are also talking about the climate change. But so whilst we are looking at the helix, the helixes, of course, we have the triple and the quad. We are more interested in the university's collaboration with industry for this presentation, because the university is also supposed to collaborate within which they operate. Now, you agree with me that it is very, very important that universities create relationships with industry, because usually these relationships can help universities. We create synergies between ourselves, I mean the higher educational institutions and industry, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to secure and leverage additional resources, because especially those of us in the public universities, we need resources, and of course, resources are never enough. We need accommodation, we need more lecture halls, we need state of the art. Now we are talking about the 4th industrial revolution, so our lecture halls should be state of the art, smart classrooms. We need resources, money to be able to do that. If we can't do that, we can even collaborate. Businesses can do in-kind donation. So we need to collaborate with industry because we want to secure and leverage additional resources. Then, of course, we also want to see how we can look at the promotion of innovation and technology transfer, which will be a focus on some of the issues I'm going to raise when it comes to industry academia collaboration. So we are looking at how do we promote innovation, how do we promote technology transfer, and one of the ways by which we can do that is also by collaborating with industries. Then, of course, we are looking at graduates' employability. We collaborate because we want to ensure that the skills that our graduates acquire or our students acquire, at the end of the day, they will be able to contribute meaningfully to the industries or businesses in which they work, and also eventually for national development. And when we are looking at the skills, we are not looking at only employability skills. We are also looking at skills that can also encourage them to also start their own businesses, or wherever they are, they can help these businesses also scale up in terms of increasing productivity. And when the businesses scale up, that is when they also employ more people, and of course that cycle continues. So yes, we have to collaborate with industry, but I want to collaborate with industry because of some. These are just a few of them. Some of these advantages that, of course, when we are collaborating with industry, it is a win-win situation. Industry is supposed to benefit. I always say that industry will not collaborate with the university because industry is Father Christmas. There is no free lunch anywhere. If you go to Freetown, Sierra Leone, and you buy lunch, you have to pay. So industry is not collaborating with university because they want to collaborate. There is something they are also looking for. So these are some of the synergies that we try to create between industry and academia. So when we are talking about the players, of course, we know it is university and industry. But remember, we are also looking at the students, the faculty, the researchers. They are all players in this industry academia partnership. So at the point you realize that when the university is collaborating with industry, yes, it is the general university that is collaborating with industry, but of course, sometimes it will involve students, sometimes it will involve researchers, sometimes it will involve faculty, and these are the main players within that partnership we are talking about, because we want to identify the players, because we want to see how we can make such collaborations successful, and you will not be able to pinpoint how you can make them successful unless you know the players in that partnership and the things you have to do to be able to satisfy or encourage or motivate those players in the partnership. So we have university, we have industry, we have students, we have researchers, we have faculty, and of course industry, we have the companies, and of course we have those who are in charge of research and development, depending on the type of company or industry we are looking at. So there are a lot of examples. I just decided to pick some of these examples. General Electric, Siemens, Rolls-Royce, and IBM, they've been collaborating with universities over years. So if you look at their products and the improvements they come up with, they've done to their products, you realize that all these things were a result of the collaboration they had with universities. Then we have Amazon, Facebook, Google, Uber. They are all using universities as part of their early stage innovation. And of course, when they are even developing strategies, they collaborate with universities to be able to help them do that. So when we talk of industry academia collaboration, it is not something new. It is something universities are doing. And in the UK, we have this semiconductor company that is based in Cardiff, and they have a collaboration with the University of Cardiff. And sometimes they've even developed a research facility to train scientists and technicians in that particular area of semiconductor technology. So at the end of the day, you may even realize that it is the industry that will even set up and fund most of the resources that are needed in the facility. So this goes to buttress the fact that industry academia collaboration, creating synergies between the industry and academia is very, very important, because sometimes they help us create and leverage resources that we don't have, also need to collaborate with industry. So you realize that, like I indicated, we all know the importance of collaborating with industry, and for some years now, you can see that we've been facing challenges. I don't think any university to collaborate with industry. Our university departments try to even do the collaboration themselves. They try to collaborate with industry. So you have pockets of department. My department, we've tried to build relationships with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So departments try to do that on their own. So it is not something universities are not doing. But one of the challenges that universities face, and of course it's industries face, is in terms of the ecosystem where the various stakeholders meet to be able to collaborate. And usually we realize that the ecosystem, later when we talk about the success factors, we'll come to know that usually the ecosystems are not properly aligned. They are not properly aligned to achieve impact. And as we go along, I will explain the reason why I'm saying they are not properly aligned. So there is an ecosystem that supports industry, academia partnerships. And one of the things we also have to realize is that we just talk about partnership. Are we looking at partnership, or we are looking at strategic partnership? And when we talk of strategic partnership, all that we are saying is that we have that element. Usually I like the word intentionality. Are we intentional? And to be very frank with you, most of the collaborations are built. Oh, we have to do collaboration. So you just walk, you identify the industries, and you just go to them. So the ecosystem in terms of where the various stakeholders meet are not really aligned to achieve impact. Then, of course, there is frustration. We're talking about mismatch between the graduates' university churnout and what industry wants. Even there is a mismatch when it comes to the cultural and governance systems that help galvanize these collaborations between industry and academia. There is a mismatch. When you come to our universities, we have a different culture, we have a different governance system. When you go to industry, they also have their own culture, they have their own governance system. Have we been able to create synergies between these two opposing cultures or governance systems in public universities? Because the university is a place where we have a concentration of brain power, we use the committee system. So sometimes if you want to collaborate, you have to move through various stages. And businesses don't have time for that. You go for meetings, you are now looking at where there is a comma, where there is a full stop. Businesses don't work. They don't have time, because to them time is money. So some of the challenges in terms of this strategic partnership, and remember I've said it is intentional, and shortly we'll look at why I'm talking about intentionality. So these are the challenges we all understand. Then in addition, you realize that the relationships, and when we go back, let us look at the relationships we build with industry. They are ad hoc in nature. They are not connected to the strategic goals of our university. So yes, we want to collaborate with industry, but how do we build the relationship and the connection? We all have strategic plans. And the strategic plans, we have various strategic trusts. We are all building our universities together. When we are building the linkages with industry, how do we build? Are they ad hoc in nature? So today I meet an industry person at a dinner. I say, oh, we do this. Can we collaborate? Then, okay, let us sign an MOU. Then we sign another department. So you can see that most of the relationship, and remember, I'm talking about strategic relationship, they are just not connected to the strategic goals of the university. I was telling someone, now I'm no more the dean for the Center for International Education. I'm rather the director. I'm now the director for the Center for Entrepreneurship and Small Enterprise Development. And I always keep on telling people that, you see, when we do things, we don't align them to our strategy. So at the end of the day, we have our strategic goals, our strategic trust somewhere. And departments and faculties are also doing things on their own. So at the end of the day, we build a collaboration, but they are not strategic partnerships. They are just collaborations. Sometimes we even have collaborators we have even not spoken to, or we've even not checked on them for 1 year, 2 years. Let's go to our institutions and we realize that we don't follow up. We just sign MOUs and they are there. Because what we do, they are ad hoc in nature and they are not connected to, and that's one of the challenges. Then it is often driven by individual departments within the university. They are not driven by multiple departments or the whole university. And later on, I will share information I was able to get from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and how they view strategic partnerships with industry. So it is individual-driven departments that build this relationship. And when you go to our institution, it's true. And we've been talking about Ashasi, and you realize that when they are doing it, they do it as a university. So it compasses other departments. It's multidisciplinary, it's transdisciplinary, it is cross-disciplinary, and they try to bring various departments together to be part or to form part of the collaboration. Because if you don't do that, then we move to the next challenge. It becomes an extended workbench. So the industry person will do the collaboration. Sometimes if it's a research or supporting a lab, they finish and the collaboration ends. It is not deep. The relationship is not deep. It is surface, workbench. Yes, when we say workbench, it is like a lab. You go, you finish the work, and you move. And there is no connection with solving global problems. So there is no deep exploration in terms of the relationship. So at the end of the day, the relationship becomes transactional. So we form the relationship for a specific purpose. And at the end of the day, we forget that there are no real partnerships. And you agree with me that initially when I started, I gave you examples of General Electric, IBM, and Siemens, who have collaborated with universities for 20, 30 years. And they are still collaborating because they take their time, look at the strategic focus, build real partnership, real relationships, not transactional relationships. And these are some of the challenges that we've seen when it comes to industry academia relationship. And of course, remember, I've said in universities, yes, we have the legal session, we don't have negotiation skills, we don't have marketing skills, the relationship becomes service-oriented, things we are doing become too bureaucratic. And at the end of the day, sometimes industry, they don't want to work with us because they see us, and it is true. I always, my area is entrepreneurship, and I always tell my colleagues, that's why sometimes I joke that people will call us poor professors, not professors, poor professors, because we are too theoretical, and there is a comma here, and there is an argument. I'm not saying it is not good. Yes, theory is good, but when we want to collaborate with industry, that is not the language they speak. They don't waste time. Yes, they are meticulous. They want to make sure that everything is right, but they don't waste time in 1 year, 2 years, and you are still following up on an MOU that needs to be signed between a university and industry. So these are some of the challenges that we face. Yes, we all know there is a need for us to collaborate with industry. And why are we not doing that? Yes, we are doing it, but it's not working because we've really not understood the language of collaboration, the culture, the governance system, and how we try to create synergies between the way they do things and the way we also do things. So it is a big dilemma. How do we make sure that we support successful collaborations between industry and academia? So now there is a change in paradigm. The old one, remember, I've given you the reasons, no relationship, it is just driven by service. University comes out with research and development. They don't have any problem, especially when you come to African countries. They don't care. We churn out a lot of research and they are just sitting on the shelf. Now there is a change in paradigm. And the new paradigm is that the relationship should be driven by business and not by service. So for instance, if universities are churning out research, how do they even collaborate with industry to start the research in the first place? So at the end of the day, when it is research related, the industry becomes a customer. The research and development, of course, is the product that counts, the enterprise. The product is the knowledge, and the researcher is the marketer. We need to start understanding the language of industry, because how can two people agree unless they understand each other? And if we don't understand each other, yes, we said they help us build our curriculum. We've been trying to do that. I know in my university, before you design a curriculum, you have to collaborate with industry. Why do we still have the problem of industry complaining that the products we churn out do not match what they want as an industry? And it is not only the product in terms of students, even the research. In Africa here, the research we carry out, is that what industry wants? Is there a collaboration? So these are the changing paradigm from the old to the new. And the new is that now we have to understand the culture of industry and speak their language. Remember, I'm talking about marketing. I said we are too bureaucratic. Decision making is very slow. When it comes to our relationship with industry, we need to make sure that we understand the language of industry. Industry, they want to make money, they want to come out with products, and the turnaround time should be very fast. And of course, they can't wait for university to go through. Then, of course, we are looking at intellectual property. So now, even with the new paradigm, they are trying to come out with even support structures to be able to understand the language of industry. So, for instance, if you come to universities, when it comes to research, especially university collaborating with industry, some universities have established technology transfer offices. They have industrial park. Some even have business incubation services. And now we even have universities setting up companies. And what they do is that sometimes when there is a research that needs to be commercialized, we look at academic entrepreneurship, then they may decide to form companies and partner with industries to be able to do that. So now we have a change in the paradigm. Then, of course, these are some of the companies university can also establish, especially in terms of their collaboration. And we've talked about contract research, technology licensing, and you can see that in this instance, the examples I'm giving are more related to maybe university and industry collaborating in the area of research or coming out with a new thing, innovation and application, etc. So these are some of the new things that are coming up. But I want to look at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology proposals in terms of how we build this collaboration. Remember, we are trying to look at the success factors. And remember, I've also indicated that we are looking at strategic partnership. not any ordinary partnership. So it means the university is intentional, and therefore it should be the university. Yes, departments can do that because maybe whatever collaboration they want is in a specific area, but we believe that it must be holistic. Then the partners see that there is commitment on the part of top management from both institutions. So I picked the MIT proposal. And remember, when we started, I indicated that when you want to build these strategic partnerships, they should be aligned to your strategic goals. And that is what I mean by the focus areas. When you come to our various institutions, we have our strategic goals that we want to achieve. So when it comes to our industry collaboration or industry partnership, there is a need for us to be strategic. Which areas? For instance, in my university, my vice chancellor says he wants to make my university an entrepreneurial university. And if you want to make the university an entrepreneurial university and it is your vision, then it means that when you are building your relationship focus areas that are aligned to the strategic goals. So when we are looking at the success factors, all that we are saying is that it should be aligned. When you are building the partnership, it should be aligned to your strategic goals. Then when you know your strategic goals, then there is a need for you to identify the partners, not any partner at all. You identify the partners who will be able to help you focus on these strategic areas. And remember, those partners also want to look for people, they also have their strategic goals. So it means that you have to select primary partners, you meet together, and you decide on the type of relationship that you want to build. So one, you have to look at your strategic goals. Then secondly, you have to look at the type of partners that will be able to help you achieve that. Then the next thing you also have to look at is that how do you select what format? What is the nature of your collaboration? How is it going to be like? Is it going to be contract research? Is it going to be technology transfer? So you try to look at the type of format you want, and you try to match them with the focus areas that are related to your strategic goals. Then the next thing is that you have to make sure that you have dedicated people, processes, and organizations. You go to our various institutions and you don't have dedicated people, because when you are building relationship with industry, I always tell people that it is not just a relationship. Remember, we said we are not looking at transactional relationship. We are looking at a proper relationship between you and industry. So proper networking, you have to be visiting them, you have to know what they are doing, you have to even build personal relationship. Do we have dedicated people, processes, and organizations that are able, that will be able to help us build this relationship with industry? Then, of course, in everything, there should be monitoring and evaluation. You have to monitor and evaluate this relationship regularly. So you can see that you can't just say, okay, I'm building relationships and that is it. It should be intentional. So you see that all these factors I've mentioned, at the end of the day, there should be intentionality. And to be frank with you, most of the collaborations we have built because they say, okay, build relationship with industry, and that is all. So you say, okay, this one, they will give us internship. This one, they will help us develop our curriculum. Is that all that there is in terms? So it means that when you are developing your curriculum, you just go to them, and at the end, after you finish doing that, you move away. No, the relationship comes from that. You need to build a proper relationship, a deep, remember I said deep exploration. That relationship should be deep. Then you can say, oh, we've been able to partner this industry for the past 20, 30, 40 years. So these are some of the success factors.
Sorry to interrupt, Prof. Hello, Prof.
Yes.
Yes, you have 3 minutes. So that.
Yes, I'm almost done.
All right,
I'm almost done. So I picked this canvas from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It is like the business model canvas. And of course, it means that you have to take your time, you have to brainstorm. So you have the goals. What are your primary goals for the collaboration? Is it external funding? Is it enhanced employability? Or is it recognition of your faculty students? Or people know that your students have had internship with General Electric. So you look at the goals, then of course you look at the focus areas. Then remember I said the type of partners you want. Sometimes you have to look at how you are familiar with them, where they are located. You look at the culture, even you look at their infrastructure. Then, of course, remember I've talked about the people, the process, and organization. And also, finally, you look at the type of collaboration. And remember, I've indicated that there is a need for you to do an evaluation. So, in a nutshell, when we talk of industry-academia collaboration, we all know what it is. We have been doing it. But have we been doing this collaborations or partnerships by looking at it strategically and looking at how we make it a workable relationship and not only a transactional relationship? And when we are able to do that and we are intentional, at the end of the day, I believe that we'll be able to get the maximum benefits from these collaborations and relationships and partnerships that we build with industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. This is great. We have heard a lot from this. I believe that with the few years I have been in the university, I think all that you say falls in line as far as I am concerned. I'm happy to hear this strategic partnership being intentional, because mostly I see these whole processes being at two extremes. One extreme being in haste, I would say, to sign MOUs with industry or between industry and university. We sign these MOUs. And then the other extreme is where you have a document which is lying down. Even those who are supposed to ensure implementation are not too sure of what is contained in this document. And then we have several of these MOUs which become paper tigers, have been lying in the cabinet and other areas. And at the end of the day, nothing really comes out of this. But I'm happy you mentioned the issue of having people to manage the process. This area is, I don't think it is for everybody. We need really people who really understand how relationships of this nature work and how mutual beneficial it could be, so that we don't allow this to rest with only a head of department, a dean, or a vice chancellor, because these are positions where people come and go. I believe that when MOUs become more of a encompassing, as you said, being between department or university-wide, I believe with experts trying to steer the whole process, we will be able to realize a lot of benefit from this. I thank you so much, Prof. On behalf of organizers, I will also go ahead and say that the floor is open now for further discussion. Those who want to, any contribution, any suggestions and additions, we want to do that quickly within 5 minutes. Please, let's respect time so that we don't keep the other presenters unduly waiting. So I will ask Violet to, your hand is up. You go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I think you touched on very critical points. You see, what I've seen here, like when I do institutional evaluations, I've seen institutions who have entered into partnerships which are inactive. And I've seen institutions who just sign, like what you said, they sign. And before they realize it, they are losing out because they signed without reading. So that is very, very key. But one of the key issues which I'm really concerned about, which I've seen wherever I've worked, is that when it is not institutionalized, like being in the Vice Chancellor's office, we have challenges, or having a department responsible for everything that is being done in bits and pieces in other departments. There's this spirit of people want to possess. You know, you are employed in there, you are working in there, that you are the one who got, you searched and got the proposal. If you pursue it on your own, you won't win. So you find that's the reason why we are not getting many of these business proposals and possible partnerships. If it requires somebody in accounting, she talked about multidisciplinary approaches. Yes, if it requires everybody from different sections of the institutions, from finance, from auditing, let it be, because we are not jack of all trades. And then the gatekeeping, that once it is there, it's the issue, I'm the one who got it. And what if you wake up dead? What if you get sick? What if there are certain circumstances that you will not be the only person to continue with the project? So people need to be involved, and everybody involved needs to know what is happening. You know, the lady Matilda talked about the engineering in KNUST, that when that professor left, that engineer, everything seemed to have gone down a bit. So let's think about that. Thank you.
Violet, do we have any more comments, suggestions from other resource persons or participants?
George, can I come in?
Oh, yes, Registrar, go ahead.
Thank you very much. What I want to commend the presenter for a well-presented piece. What I want to comment about is that I think sometimes the universities are not forthcoming in our intentions to establish these partnerships and collaborations. To borrow the first presenter's word, we have to be strategically intentional in these things. It's not always that you may actually see from the beginning what sort of, or the scope of collaboration that you need to establish with industry or whatever. Sometimes there may be certain, how do I put it, certain plans within the industries where they have intentions of collaborating with academia, but they may not know even how. So what I want to say is that normally it starts with personal interactions, first from friendship levels. If you know somebody in industry, you engage that person, and that person will be able to tell you that, yeah, we have some funds for so and so research which you can access. And then you begin from there and link up. And if you have to go ahead and perhaps draft an MOU to guide the relationship, then you do that and you access it. Sometimes they have people they want to sponsor to come and have some specialized, customized training programs. But if we sit in our offices, we may not know. So we have to be forthcoming, forthright, approach them, and then establish these links as and when we think we need to collaborate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Registrar, for your contribution to this discussion. Violet, can you put your hand down, because your hand is still up?
No, I just put it up because I have a question for Prof. Boyne.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yes, Prof. Boyne, I know you are running your that project which you have talked about. You know, the registrar raised a very important aspect that, and then you craft an MOU. What I've also seen is that these MOUs could be coming from one side and it comes to you just to sign. Instead of both parties being involved in saying no, making the inputs for the MOU in order to come up with the win-win situation. What can you say as a comment?
Actually, usually the MOUs we sign, it's between the partners. Of course, when we are signing the MOUs or when we are preparing the MOUs, one party, all the MOUs I have been involved in, even when I was at the international office or when I was even building relations with industry. Actually, we sat down and we looked at some of the things we want to do as part of the partnership. So, like I said, if you don't agree, how do you collaborate? So there is a need for the two of you to sit down and look at the nitty-gritties of what should be involved in this collaboration. Because then if you don't understand each other, at a point you realize that it's going to create a misunderstanding, and of course it may mar, maybe you have a strategic partner, and because of a small misunderstanding, it may mar the relationship. So usually all the MOUs I've been involved with in terms of industry academia, the two parties sit down. That is the university and that industry partner. They sit down and they iron out the various activities that should be included as part of the MOU.
Thank you very much. Violet, do you want any follow-up question, or that is?
No, I'm okay just to encourage institutions, because sometimes when I do the evaluations, I ask an institution, surely, were you involved in the drafting of this MOU? They say, no, it came, we signed. In fact, they push it to the person and the other partner and say, no, do the MOU and we will sign. So that's what I'm discouraging. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Violet. I believe at this stage, this conversation will be taken much further. I think from here we can look at this, how to really operationalize some of these things. The paperwork, the documents are too many. As far as will be happening somewhere, but the implementation of this, seeing these MOUs through, collaboration through, is another level we have to take a look at. I think the legal offices in our universities also need to help us in this regard, because these are not ordinary writings. They involve a lot. The regulatory environment may be an issue, and once the registrar is here and being a lawyer, I will suggest that registrar will, I don't know if registrar can comment on this. MOUs that sort of legal intensive, that's also maybe one of the issues why they are not forthcoming in our jurisdiction.
Can you say that again?
I mean MOUs. Do they carry a lot of legal weight? And I say legal with legalities, to the extent that that might also be an area we have to be looking at.
Thank you very much. MOUs and sometimes MOAs are frameworks that establish some kind of a relationship, but not legal relationship.
Good.
Beyond the MOU, then there are specific agreements that are set out to guide specific activities and projects and programs. But the MOU is just a framework that sets up the responsibilities of either party and what both parties agree to do together and all that, and sets out maybe termination clauses here and there. But it doesn't actually legally bind any of the parties, so it shouldn't scare anybody. And as the
registrar, what you are saying, it appears that yes, the collaboration, the first when the MOU level is simple, it is straightforward. But probably we are not able to move forward because of the issue of commitment. Because as you are saying, the next level is that is where actual commitments come in. And so, excuse me to say, from the courting stage, we are not able to come together because we think that nobody is really ready to commit, because as you are saying, yes, there will be penalties, there will be things one has to put on the table, and maybe we are not too good at that. I am not too sure, but I'm just speculating.
Well, it all comes with negotiation skills. You see, you sit down together and agree to disagree. I want to do this, I want to charge you this amount. You say, no, I can't pay this, I can only pay between this and that. You have to agree. Once you ready to collaborate. You have to also be ready to agree to certain things and compromise, come to a compromise. Yes.
And so I think now the new university, I would say the 21st century university will then have to look at these collaborative offices or units where we have experts, because for some of these things we are talking about, definitely I think we need people who really understand what goes into negotiation, not only negotiation at all, but very good negotiations. So that both parties will feel comfortable going on with it. I believe it is interesting, but on this note, we would thank Professor Bohine for a very good job. From here, I know Prof can share her email if that is okay. I know others might want to get in touch and seek further clarification on some of the issues discussed so far. And I think for the sake of building networks or networking, I believe that some might also want to contact Prof later on and take some of these discussions further. As we are talking about collaboration, this may be the beginning of some collaborations in the pipeline. So, Prof, if you are okay with that, I think you can share some contact details where others might be able to reach you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will move straight to the next point. Is Professor Kuno online? Hello, Professor Kuno. Yes, so thank you very much, Prof. Your email is here.
I'm here.
Yes, in the chat. Yes, Professor Kuno.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. By my watch, it is 43 past 10. You have 25 minutes for your presentation and 5 minutes for discussion or some contribution. So, Prof, yeah, over to you.
Okay. Can I be allowed to share my slides?
Yes, the technical people at the back end, please. Prof is asking for permission to share.
He's allowed, please. He's allowed.
Good.
Okay, let me check and then do the sharing. Yeah. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can see it.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, just a minute. Let me. I want to change to the video. Just a minute. I want to. Okay. Salom. Salom.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, I'm looking for the video. I already unmuted, but I can't see the video anymore.
You want to
go on the video?
Oh, maybe your camera should be.
I can't see it from my end here.
Your camera should be off.
Yeah, it's off. So I want to do it. Let me go back then.
So you need to check for the window, which is showing the video.
Yeah, start video. I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done already. Yeah. So, good morning to all of you. It's a privilege to be part of this important program. I can't see my slide.
Prof,
yes, I mean. Yes.
Can you put it on slideshow?
Yeah, I already put it on slideshow. I shared a slide. And
yeah,
okay,
but it's not on slideshow.
Okay. Just a minute. I think it's already on slideshow. It's not on it.
No, it's not.
It's not. Wait, just a minute. Okay. Let me close and do it again. Redo. Okay. I want to put on slash.
Okay. But in the interest of time, since we...
I think in the interest of that, I think we can do it. I cannot see the slideshow anymore in this.
Okay, so Prof, just share. It's okay.
The time is good.
I think that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, just share the screen. It's okay.
Okay. So here we have the topic I have been given seems to be a bit close to, or probably the same as what Professor Etiahini.
You are not sharing.
I'm doing something. It's okay. Come. Okay. Where is the slideshow?
You are not sharing your screen.
Okay. Just a minute. Where's the slideshow? I don't know what happened. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I want to share first before. As stated by the American Bureau of Labor and Statistics in 2011, employability can be defined as a set of skills, achievements, and personal attributes that make graduates likely to secure employment in their choosing. So about graduates developing versatile skills and attributes that will enable them to maximize their potential in the workplace. The demand for competent professionals has made the employability selection process challenging. There is a need to continuously upgrade the curriculum of university courses so as to better equip graduates with employable skills. And this also demands comprehensive education in pedagogy, that's the method of and practice of teaching for lecturers. The lecturers do not just need technical and academic skills, but also the method and practice of teaching and the employable skills to be inculcated in the students. The 21st century job scenario demands workforce to be competitive and well-groomed in all areas related to hardcore technical skills as well as the soft skills. Since the automation and artificial intelligence continue to reshape the work environment, soft skills or employable skills which machines cannot replace are becoming very vital. Hence, comprehensive education curriculum should be the focus for educational institutes in the present situation. Besides the academic and technical skills, employers expect a wide range of personal attributes from prospective employees. And many organizations particularly evaluate individuals on parameters such as attitude, leadership, motivation, teamwork, persuasive strategies to deal with people, communication skills, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, conflict management, and so on. Although it is hard to identify or quantify these traits in an individual, adequate training should be provided to inculcate such attributes among the aspiring professionals or graduates. For instance, in India, some technical universities provide well-designed pool of structured courses such as business communication and technical communication, which do incorporate models such as professional presentations, group discussions, and interviews, so as to sharpen the soft skills of the students. Soft skills are the skills such as interpersonal and communication competence, ability to work in teams, motivation, and leadership that complement the technical and academic skills of the graduates. In Ghana, for instance, the industry-academia partnership for training young graduates for the job market is not elaborate. In agriculture, for instance, Many students look for opportunity during the semester breaks to undertake internship with agro-industrial firms, but they struggle to get placement with these firms for the internship. Clearly, there exists considerable gap between the expectations of the corporate sector and the models designed by the universities, and by extension, the skills acquired by the graduates. The aim of this presentation is to provide an overview of what employable skills are, and to propose some interventions to address the skill gap between industry and academia. What are the employable skills? Now, this technology, communication skill, teamwork, problem solving, initiative, planning and organization, self-management, learning are some key employable skills based on the literature by Shekwak and a document that I chanced on by the Australian government. And we need interventions in all these areas. But I'll take them one at a time. For communication, the aspects that we need to talk about is professional presentation, the ability to organize content, different delivery modes. I appreciate the significance of engaging the audience in your presentation, and time management. The other aspect is listening and following instruction, tailoring messages for different audiences, using appropriate body language, asking questions and sharing information, speaking clearly and directly, and being polite and considerate. All these are attributes related to communication, which we need to inculcate into our graduates. In UNER, for instance, we have communication courses for our students. First of all, we have French, which is compulsory for students from level 100 to 300. We can see examples of these courses. Introductory French, which is taken in level 100, first semester. Introductory French 2, which is that of a second semester. French for general communication, which is the second year, first semester. And then oral French for general communication, which is third year, first semester. We also have academic writing and communication skills course for all students. That's in the first year, first semester. So UNER is doing its bits, but it may appear that it's not sufficient, but we'll find out where the gaps are and see how to bridge these gaps. The other aspect that we want to talk about is teamwork. And teamwork relates to more of working with people of different ages, gender, ethnicity, and religion. Ability to do that. We need to inculcate into our students motivation to work in teams towards a shared goal, attending team meetings, sticking to role and not stepping on others' toes, always being on time with your contribution towards the work of the team. So this is what we need to inculcate into our students or our graduates. And we can see this in the group work and assignment case studies that we give to our students. So you know our students have a lot of cases, group assignment and group presentations in class. And all these try to mold the students towards achieving these attributes of teamwork. The other one that we want to talk about is problem solving. And problem solving ability of the students is also key to be inculcated into them. The first item that we will talk about is addressing customer concerns. When the customer has a problem, you should be able to address the concerns in a way that will bring the customer back to the business. Identifying problems and finding solutions. So not only somebody telling you about a problem, but you yourself identify the problem of the organization, trying to find solutions to the problem is a way that the students will be marketable in a job place. Solving problems with your teammates and inviting others to provide advice with respect to the work of a team in a bid to solve societal and business problems. In UNER, for example, we have courses that build our students to be able to have that problem-solving ability, and we have quantitative literacy in year 1, first semester, information literacy and computer technology in year 1, first semester, analytical reasoning, reading and reasoning in year 2, first semester. These are ways by which we are pushing our students to develop that problem-solving ability, aside the technical and academic courses that the students are taking. The other one is the initiative and drive. Our graduates are expected to have that initiative and drive. Now, the adapting to new situations is one of the key. You are in a new environment, a new job place. The graduate is able to adapt, should be able to adapt to the situations at the workplace, new environment, new business environment, a new culture, a new society. Being creative and taking responsibility at the job place and everywhere that graduate find him or herself. Identify opportunities not obvious to others. The ability of the student to be able to shine in the workplace is to identify opportunities not obvious to others and putting ideas in words. Not only having the conception, but to put it on paper and see how the initiative can be taken, the drive and the work or the problem can be solved. UENR, we have courses. The following programs have adopted the entrepreneurship courses. We have the Department of Entrepreneurship, and that offers courses in entrepreneurship. But aside that, some departments like Department of Basic and Applied Biology program, Natural Resource program, Hospitality program, Information Technology, and Computer Science have adopted some of the entrepreneurship courses at several levels. That's from level 100 to 300. And this is key for developing the entrepreneurial ability of our students. Now, the proposal to make entrepreneurship courses compulsory for all programs is being considered by the university. Now, the other aspect of this, what we are doing in the university, is that students undergo a compulsory attachment for 6 weeks with companies to benefit from experiential learning for the development of their entrepreneurial skills. So as they go to the industry, they learn from this manager, they learn from senior colleagues. And I think this is in the right direction. But if there are gaps, we should be able to identify the gap as a university and be able to bridge the gap between what we are offering the students and that of the industry. The next one is planning and organization. And planning and organization, we need to inculcate in our students the ability to manage time and priorities, set time frame and coordinating tasks. The students should be able to set time frame for work that is given and coordinate tasks, knowing how to break activities into smaller tasks and establishing clear goals. The student should be able to establish a goal for him or herself, even during the program, through this inculcation of these items as part of the programs. Planning. For example, agribusiness students, for example, have courses in human resource management, project management, and other allied courses. And I believe other courses that are being taken in several other departments in the university are geared towards improving the planning and organizational skills of our students. The level 400 thesis undertaken by the students is an independent research and with a supervisor. And that also builds that confidence of the students with respect to being independent, being able to plan, being able to organize even the proposal, the questionnaire, and going for data, be able to plan the lab experiments, and so on and so forth. So these are things that will inculcate this planning ability in our students. The next one is self-management. Articulating your own ideas. The student should be able to articulate his or her own ideas, having personal goals and meeting deadlines, evaluating and monitoring own performance, seeking and taking feedback on own performance and behavior, and taking responsibility. The student should be able to manage himself or herself. Now, if the student is able to manage himself or herself in the academic environment, the student will be able to portray that attribute at the workplace and to show that excellence in terms of self-management and be able to manage the work environment. Each student is assigned a mentor or academic advisor who mentors the student's behavior closely and provide advice as and when necessary. So in our university, we have academic tutorship, we have academic mentorship for each of the students as when they come to level 100. The next one is on learning. The students should be trained to identify learning opportunity and manage own learning environment. Being open to new ideas and techniques, learn from mistakes, and be able to correct those mistakes following instructions and implement it quickly. These are attributes that we want to have in our students. Students are taken through, in our university, we have still, again, I'll go back to the quantitative and qualitative literacy skills. So we have the quantitative skills, information literacy and computer technology, analytical reading and reasoning skills. These are things that will build the long life character of the students. We also have the Ghanaian and African studies, which is taken in year 1. And this exposes our students to the Ghanaian African society or culture and religion and the work environment, and how these attributes or information will provide an influence on their working environment. So it will shape their work behavior based on what they have received from the university. We also have the counseling unit in the university that provides directions on career goals, learning character formation, and to minimize or resolve life challenges. Academic tutorship is also there to provide guidance for the students regarding their learning processes, their career goals, and so on and so forth. Technology is one of the key soft skills, even though it might appear technical, but if you don't have it, you cannot fit in the workplace. So our students should be trained and willingness to learn new IT skills, having a range of basic IT skills, having advanced IT skills, so basic IT skills like Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on. Advanced IT skills like some level of programming and level of analysis. Knowing which technology is appropriate for different uses. For example, if you have a data set, when is it appropriate to use an SPSS? When is it appropriate to use eViews? When is it appropriate to use Theta? When is it appropriate to use LIMDER? When is it appropriate to use Python, and so on and so forth? So these are things that the students could be exposed to, and so that they can build their technological skills to be able to fit in the workplace and solve challenging problems for the organization. Connecting with people using technology, so we need to connect them with people who have the know-how to be able to learn fast on the job and even during the academic programs. So UNER, we have the information literacy, we have reasoning, and then we have the computer literacy, computer technology as well. Now, the key interventions that are required for the current dispensation is that there's a need to develop university programs in collaboration with the industry practitioners. 2, academic programs must be based on corporate needs. In other words, programs must focus on solving problems that the industry is facing. 3, industries and corporate leaders must be willing to grant students industrial placements to enable students to develop their soft skills. Because sometimes they go and they are not able to get the place. Sometimes the organizations are kind of show a level of lukewarm attitude towards our students in terms of absorbing them to do their industrial attachment and internship there. The next one we can talk about is the government can provide an enabling environment to facilitate industry academia collaboration for the human capital development of countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. There is also the urgent need to expand the Ghanaian economy to provide jobs that will absorb the graduates. The graduates are being churned out, all these skills are being provided, probably not to the extent that is required by the industry, but at least they have some level of skills. And so the industry, the economy should be able to expand to absorb these graduates. Then probably the industry can provide some in-service training for them to continue to learn on the job as they progress in life, in their career growth. So the conclusion is that the development of employable skills in our graduates is essential for placement in the job market. 2, collaboration among universities, industry, and government is critical to developing employable skills in our graduates. 3, the industry should try as much as possible to fill the skill gap in the graduates through in-service training programs for the graduates. Above all, disciplined character is key for securing and maintaining the job in the job market. In the sense that if the candidate or the graduate is not disciplined, aside having all these characters or skills, If the person is not disciplined, the person is likely to lose the job in few weeks, few months, or in a year. So discipline is key, and we know that if the person is disciplined, the person will be able to undertake the program and learn all the required skills that are being taught provided in the universities. These are some references. Thank you very much for your attention. I'll wait for some comments and discussions. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Kuno, for your time. I think you have delivered within your time. We still have some time out of your 30 minutes or 25 minutes, so we will use the extra to discuss further what you have presented. This is insightful. This is also a piece of good information for all of us. So, participant, I will ask that if you have any question, please raise your hand, and let's see. I know Violet is going to say something. With the other.
Hello. Come on board first, then I can come on also.
Prof,
hello.
Yes, hello. Yes, can you hear me? Yes. Hello, Professor Kuno.
Yes, please, I'm here.
Oh, good. Yes, I think you have said this, and I believe.
I think the Vice Chancellor wants to react to something, so let's.
Okay, good. Oh, good. Please go ahead. Yeah, Prof, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes,
right.
Please.
So I want to thank Prof. Kuno, Professor Abohin, and other speakers for their very insightful presentation. I just want to add that for these skills, because we want to put emphasis on these skills, that is why we have set up Center for Center for Students Skills Enhancement, so that this center can really complement whatever skills that are required, the shortfalls within the programs, as we are seeking to improve on the teaching and other aspects. With this center, with that special attention. So I think it's very important for me to, at this point, emphasize that because of these skills, that is why we have set up the vision. This Center for Student Employable Skills have been set up so that we can get input from all the experts around the globe who will come and then speak to students. And that is, I think, the way to go. Prof. Kuno mentioned of the entrepreneurship. Yeah, he said that proposal. Yes, it's something that it is already accepted as part of the vision of the Vice Chancellor. We said every new program is going to have entrepreneurship. So it's something which has already been accepted, even by the council. And so we are monitoring new programs that are being developed, having entrepreneurship a bit. So I think it's very good. So I want to just commend the presenters so far, and just to add that we are so happy, and I want to wish you well for the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chancellor Professor Elvis Asarbidiakon. We know you are elsewhere doing university.
Yes.
But
I'm driving. Yes, I'm somewhere in the city, and then I stop. And
yes, it tells us the emphasis you place on some of these.
Exactly.
Our graduates should be able to go out there confidently to be able to identify opportunities. Apart from being employed by others, also seeing challenge problems and not seeing them as problems, but rather opportunities to bring solutions and create jobs through it. So, Prof, we are grateful for your time, and we are going to continue with this. We know at another level we are going to have a further discussion, take this discussion further. Thank you.
That's
enjoy the rest of the day.
All right. Thank you very much. So I wish you well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof.
All right. So now, Violet, I'll hand over to you for either your comments, suggestions, or any additions.
Okay, thank you. One is a question, one is a comment. We want to thank the Vice Chancellor for the high level of dedication to everything which is happening. So, as a comment, the Prof. John commented that sometimes the industry will not accept certain students. You know, I just want to give some practical examples that, yes, I'm seeing it the time. In some cases, you find industry will say we will not accept students from this institution because they are lazy, because they are disrespectful. All these things, I've heard them. And this is one thing we need to stress to our students so that they don't close the opportunities of students who are coming after them. Number two, Sir George, please, how is this center operating? Is it started operating already, or this event is one of the way to prepare its operation? How is it going to practically operate within the institution, or it has already started, and how is it happening? Thank you.
All right. I think before Prof comes in, I know David is here, but I want to, because this has been a collaborative. You say this center before it has started already. It has started already with dedicated staff who are doing this. But then this center, I think the whole idea was conceptualized through the UniLead program. I know, Violet, you may have idea about it from the DIE series sponsored by the DAD. This was something which came out of a project, an individual project, which I undertook, looking from some research and some interaction with our past students or our graduates. Things came through and it was prepared. So the whole thing is about giving students something extracurricular, which is going to complement what they are learning in the classroom. And through the activities of this center, we will also have some evidence-based information to inform how curriculum is designed, reviewed, or evaluated. So with all the things we are doing, one of this program, for example, is one of the areas where we are able to gather knowledge, some information critical to training our students. So from here, everything we are doing here is going to be fed into the process of reviewing our existing programs or designing new programs. So it is this way that this center is going to be that linking what is being taught and what is needed out there, so that at the end of the day, we wouldn't just be concentrating on teaching students with subject matter areas, what they need to know, but then giving them something extra which they can take out there. I think the overall objective is that our students will have an upper hand, if that is the right word to use, upper hand when they enter into the world of work. We have this saying that the students of the university are called technologians. And so through that culture, technologian culture of risk, it means that our students are not the ones who go put their hands in their pocket and stand and look at challenge. But they go out there, they are able to perform what other graduates may not be able to do. So the center has come to stay. The Vice Chancellor has given, I think, significant support to this, that we give this a try, or not even a try. We try to use this as another level of helping our students to come out as complete or holistic graduates who are able to be all round in the world of work.
Can I make a contribution to that?
Yes, Prof. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Makuku. So the center has, just as I said, the center has already started operating, and Brother David is the one who is in charge, who is the junior assistant registrar for that center. So the organization of this workshop is part of the programs that the center is organizing. In fact, this is a key. I mean, this is one of the key activities that we have organized, and I believe we'll have more in the future. Probably not online, but we'll have bigger ones in bigger forum where we can meet face to face and deliberate more on issues and see how we can carry business ideas for industry implementation. Now, in the university, we have, aside the Skill Enhancement Center, we have the Entrepreneurship Center, where business ideas are generated. That is also headed by one of the faculty members. So the Entrepreneurship and Business Incubation Center. So business ideas are generated by students. The business ideas are developed. And when they are developed, we see how we can implement this business idea through our center known as the UENR Enterprise. The UENR Enterprise is a general business body of the university, which was approved by the University Council, which we are trying to get some more ideas and come out with new businesses and develop some. So for now, we are talking about looking at the, let's say, piggery production. We are looking at the GOIL, which is the fuel station. We are looking at ice cream manufacturing by some small businesses. So depending on the business that is coming out, for example, we have the manufacturing of hand sanitizers and other detergents by the chemistry departments. When these business ideas are generated, they will be developed into key businesses, which will be taken on by the UENR Enterprise. And the students are going to learn along the line. They are going to learn from the scratch, from the beginning to when the business is actually in operation. And so we are providing this opportunity for our students to be able to develop their talents in terms of entrepreneurship and business orientation. So we have three key things: the skill enhancement, which is the beginning. The second one is the entrepreneurship and business incubation center. And the third one, which is the final, where the business are actually businesses. When the university develop these ideas through the students and other faculty members into businesses. Thank you very much.
So do you have a policy for all this? And like also, what I'm really concerned about is the beneficiation to say the students, the institutions, and the staff that are involved in these enterprises, because they are income generating.
Yes, we are trying to develop policies for each of these, especially at the business level, where whoever contributes, or which department contributes, will have a portion of the revenue. So the policy development is underway, and we know that the departments who come out with these new ideas with their students will not be short-changed in terms of the revenue to be generated from the ideas as a result of the businesses. Thank you. David.
David.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah,
yes,
maybe you want to make a comment
yes.
on the Skill Enhancement Center and how the operation is being done.
Okay, Prof, you said it all. I can only just add a few. You know, the Skill Enhancement Center is a student center development center. So our focus is to how to bring out and inculcate that employability skills in them. And aside that, too, the rationale is that with all that we are doing, the center was established to be able to address those challenges. So our main focus is that we have been established to put into the student, especially to debase their mindset, because what we have realized was that it's all about attitude and mindset. When you don't have the right mindset, then it becomes difficult to be able to become employable, because attitudes and then aptitudes are built based on mindset and then exposure. So the Skills Enhancement Center, as it being a student service development center, is to be able to help these students to acquire that requisite skills in the industry, and also to groom them to build in them with that kind of aptitudes, the character to merit the kind of workplace attitude that is needed. And aside that too, the center was being established, and what we are in to do is that we are in there to also encourage students to be able to adopt to the right attitude and career building. So in the area of career building, we try to offer a mentoring services for them, where we ask students, we take them through a model, and the kind of model that we take them through, we find out right from the beginning of their enrollment of level 100, and then we begin to engage them, talk to them, find out what is their need and what is their aspiration in terms of their career. And we begin to monitor and then guide them. There are some students, they would even want to tune in to the extra vocation aspect. So with them, we counsel them and we try to see how best we can also lace them to the area of those in charge of helping them to pitch out to become business incubated. So in fact, the center has a lot to do, but currently we have just started because the new center, and these are some of our operationalized duties. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Violet, is that okay?
Yes, sir, that's fine. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I believe that there are no further questions, but if there's any, please draw my attention. Yes, Killian Asosega. Killian is a lecturer here at the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Killian, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity. During Prof's presentation, I think on slide 29, he mentioned that we have to start looking at collaboration between industry and academia, which is very key. Now, I was thinking, can we start looking at this from accreditation point of view? When we start accreditation, can we invite them from that stage so that they put in their inputs as to what they expect the student with, say, BSc entrepreneurship should have at the end of the day? So that in doing that, we can make sure that we are actually producing to meet their needs at the end of the day. That's the first one. And then the second one has to do with the quality assurance aspect of everything that we are doing. Now, everything we do, exams and related stuffs, are purely paper-based. Elsewhere, they are trying to do everything IT. I went somewhere and I saw that exam is being done using Kahoot and the stuff, so that immediately submits your exams. Within the next second, you have your results, and everything is standardized. I don't know if we can begin to start looking at some of these IT tools to make our students very competitive outside there. Thank you.
All right, Prof.
Thank you very much for the questions. I think the programs that are being developed in collaboration with the industry, but maybe we are not doing it to the extent that will attract the industry to the university. And I think it is high time that, now before, for example, we submitted a program to the GTEC and they asked for MOUs, collaboration. So we provided the MOU with World Vision and other organizations before the program was approved. And so during the program development, the department or the school needs to be able to provide that kind of evidence of collaboration with the industry. That is one of the key requirements for the approval of the programs. Now, if we have MOU, just as was said earlier by our registrar, the MOUs are, in my view, they are not legal documents, but it is important that there should be understanding for which each party perform its role or function or as specified in the MOU. So the key thing is about the collaboration. To what extent is it? Who is performing the function and who is not performing the function? We need to include all this in the aspect of the programs that we are putting out for accreditation. So it is important that we do it. We are already doing it, and I think it is good that we strengthen that area, because without that, our graduates will be unemployable because the industry will find them not to have acquired the skills required for their job places. The second one is about the IT skills. I know that you have these online approaches and all that, but sometimes the online has its own disadvantage, in the sense that this online thing you're talking about may be tilted towards more of the multiple choice questions. And in a university setting, just as I mentioned yesterday, it is important that we move away from the multiple choice question and to assess the students based on the Bloom taxonomy, in the sense that we look at just the beginning, the knowledge. We are looking at synthesis, evaluation, appraisal, and so on and so forth. The student should be able to provide an evaluation and assessment. A graduate who is coming from the university shouldn't be prepared based only on objective, even though they will provide some answers based on their thinking, but most of the time, the answers are based on luck. And so we need the students to express themselves so that we will know what is actually within them, what they are thinking about. How can they defend a position? How can they speak for a position? How can they speak against a position? How can they evaluate two positions and come to a conclusion? This is what we expect from our graduates. And I think that it's good, that's fine, but we can complement this online way of assessment with the essay form of assessment, which probably is done handwritten through a case study assignment or group presentations and so on and so forth. So I believe that I have provided some response to your question. If there are further questions, you can.
Thank you, Prof, for your response. Irene is here. Hello, Irene.
Oh, hello, Professor. I just wanted to add something little to what you said. So we've actually been examining online because we had no option in the UK. We were shut down. We had to do everything online. So our students had to write their essays and use the online portal to submit. Of course, that presents us with another challenge, which was about copying and not being sure if the students had done the work themselves. So we realized that actually a mixture of both is probably the best way to go, so that the hybrid format where we have some face-to-face and have some online will probably work best. Because although we had 1 year online, our students really suffered from the lack of interaction. So I think you're right in saying we need the online, but we need the face-to-face as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Irene. I believe that Irene is saying this, and from literature, which is current, Prof, we were discussing this. Academic integrity has also been an issue these days with everybody trying to move online. If we are not able to have the right mix, then we are going to have students, the kind of evaluation is going to defeat the purpose for which we are all here, trying to prepare students in such a way that they come out as complete students, as students who are able to fit well wherever they go. So yes, it is true, we can take advantage of technology, but we also need to look at the transitioning very well, that we are not, we don't fall into something which is going to compromise the integrity of whatever we are doing. Ampofo is here. Hello, Ampofo. Ampofo has raised, yes, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay,
please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I have just a few suggestions.
Yes.
Can I go on?
Yes, please go.
Okay. Okay. I was just looking at the professor's presentation, his topic, and the word that actually struck out was intervention. You know, and I was asking myself, when does this word become relevant? When do you intervene? When we talk about intervention, it means perhaps we've run something and then we realize that it wasn't really going the way we intended it to be. So we want to put in some remedial steps to arrest the situation. Now, I listened to the professor, and I think in his university, they are doing a fantastic job in terms of orienting students to be employable. But then I work in a secondary school, which is not a university yet. Now, I'm thinking back to my school, and what I'm asking is, some of these things that they are doing at the university, perhaps if these things were started earlier, particularly targeting the primary and then the secondary schools, we should start orienting the mind of our students at that early age. By the time they get to the university, I believe they will be familiar with some of these interventions that the professor was talking about. That's why yesterday I asked, I asked if Mrs. Riverson would be interested in working with secondary school students, because I found her ideas very practical and something that I believe is directly in line with the discussion that we are having so far. I just want to draw our mind to something. You see, some of these, especially European universities and all that, they occasionally hold career fairs in the country, and then what are the age groups? They invite almost all the age groups, right, to come, and then they exhibit their programs and all that with them, where areas where students to be interested in and then apply to their universities. But I don't see that happening a lot in our own indigenous universities, that's the universities in the country. What I'm thinking is, what will happen if university like the UNCR say maybe target some secondary schools in, let's say, their area, and then organize a career fair to them, exhibit some of their programs that they do and all that, and how the students can, even if they are interested in those programs, what are some of the subjects that they should be pursuing at their stage, so that when they get there, they are, so from that early on, they start crafting their, their career towards a particular direction. So that's just what I want to say, that perhaps some of our indigenous universities, I believe some of them have certain areas that the university is oriented towards. Because Ghana, if you want to do medical, if you want to do medicine, the universities you go to. If you want to do entrepreneur, you be an entrepreneur or a business student, the universities you have to go to. And I think some of the universities, indigenous universities, they should start thinking around that, thinking about organizing career fairs in the secondary schools, so that the students will, right from there, start becoming aware that, if I want to be a businessman, and I think the very good business school that can help me to do that is perhaps UNHCR. So this and that, I should have to take this and that programs and all that. So right from there, we start, guiding them in terms of the careers that they might want to pursue when they get to the universities. There's just something small that I thought about sharing. Thank you.
Can I respond briefly? Hello, George.
Please respond. Please, okay. I think our time, so let's try and make it.
The point raised by our colleagues is very interesting. And first of all, I want to put on record that our university, which is the University of Energy and Natural Resources, is the first university to organize the STEM Festival in this country. And this happened just last week. STEM Festival. For the past 4 years, we have been having Science Festival, where we invite students to our university to expose them to the application of science. This year, we have moved away from the Science Festival to STEM Festival. That's Science, Technology, Education, and Mathematics, Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, Education. We did that on the Monday to Wednesday, and we invited 2,300 students from 3 regions in this country, from the junior secondary schools and the senior secondary schools. We have students from the Bono region, Bono East, and Ahafo regions, including their directors, science coordinators. Then they were all here, and there were exhibitions by the departments. We had 19 exhibition centers, ranging from climate change to engineering, solar energy, mechanical energy, electrical energy, and so on and so forth. So our university, we are trying to provide that avenue for the students to have that career orientation regarding what they want to do and how they can do it, which subjects they need to do to be able to get into those programs. I also want to say that probably it is high time that the university itself have the career fairs where industries are brought into the university, where students within the university see these fairs, look at these industries, what jobs they are offering, and how they can get employed in these industries. So that is what is missing for us as a university, the University of Energy and Natural Resources. But for inculcating those career fairs or the program requirements into junior students, like those in the junior secondary schools and senior secondary schools, we have been doing that for the past 5 years. And just last week, we had what is called a STEM Festival, and that is the first of its kind in this country, and we're commended by the Minister for Education for organizing such program. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Prof. I know Amponsa is here because of our time. We will want to, others are waiting, but if you need further clarification on this, to be able to talk to a student in your school, we will be able to do that. I have been to some senior high schools, and I'm happy that I think a month ago I was at one of the senior high schools. And after taking them through our program offerings and requirement for admission and a lot of opportunities which we have here, I was happy to receive a letter from them that they have considered revising the subject combination of their students in that senior high school, because after our presentation, they saw that some of the subject combinations they were offering there were not even going to get the students into programs they were interested in at the university level. And I think that is where still we talk about collaboration. They supply us with students for which we train. And so there is that strong linkage we have to have with these senior high schools, so that what we teach here is that they are training their students at that level to be able to fit into whatever we are doing here. So I think we can discuss this further. You can we can share emails and see how we can, if you are interested, we can come to your school and do this, because we have done this throughout, I think about 10 of the 16 regions, we have done that to some senior high schools. And it is necessary that we consider others who might want to take advantage of this. Thank you very much, Amponsa. I'm sorry that your follow-up question could not come up. But then I would say, Professor Kuno, we are grateful. We thank you for your time and your presentation. I know this is definitely going to generate some further discussions which we can take from beyond this meeting or conference. We are going to take this further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time. I think at this stage, I also will have to give a presentation, a short one. I will want to go the direction of I would say a case study, because my topic is. I would say I wouldn't want to go too much into Africa. What I would say will basically be something we have here at UENR, but then beyond or whatever we are doing here, I think that we can do that. We can try to infer and see what is happening either in sub-Saharan Africa or throughout the continent or elsewhere. We will be able to do that. So I will quickly want to yes. Okay, so I think I have you can now see my slides here, right? Is it okay? Can we
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, please.
All right.
It's okay. Yeah, it is.
So I am charged with delivering something short on the challenges with curriculum development and accreditation threats to higher education institutions in Africa and beyond. I know so well what happens at UNER. I know from theoretically we can look at on the surface what is happening elsewhere and try to speak to that. But I would try as much as possible to use a case study strategy and look at what is happening here at UNER. And then beyond this case study, institutional case study, I know whatever I'm going to discuss here might also be interesting, will be helpful to contributing to understanding what is happening on the rest of the continent and also even beyond. My name is Josh Kwejuanane. I'm a Senior Assistant Registrar and also the Acting Head Academic and Students Affairs. I've been at the Academic and Students Affairs since 2018, and we do a lot of activities, admission, enrollment management, and student support services, welfare. We do all these things to help our students. If I want to go, before I do that, I think we are coming from UNER, and I want to just give a brief history. UNER is an emerging university. And when I say emerging, I don't want to say new, because this new issue or small university have all been contested. What is new, what is small? So I consider that we are an emerging university established by an Act of Parliament at 830. This is a public funded university. The main campus is in Sunyani, and we have another campus at Doma Hinkro, which hosts 2 schools there. And the university was inaugurated in 2012. And 2012, in November, we had about 124 pioneering students. We started with that. I'm happy to say that from today or up to today, we have over 8,000 students currently on campus, and we have graduated also over 3,000 so far. From 2014-2015 academic year, the Doma campus was started, and so we have the School of Agric and Technology and the Schools of Geosciences at Doma. In 2016, we had our first graduation, and that was the maiden graduation where we graduated is 154 pioneering students. From then, we have done so much. We have achieved a lot, looking at the number of years we have been in the higher education terrain in Ghana. Now, from there, what do we want? If we need some facts and figures, if we look at students in 2019 figures, over 6,000 students, about 500 masters and PhD students or researchers. We have 5,724 undergraduates and some about over 700 in diploma programs. We have our 11 diploma programs currently running. We have 28 undergraduate programs and 22 graduate programs cutting across energy and natural resource sciences, agric, geosciences, engineering, and also management sciences. Our staff capacity as at now, after the last recruitment, I think the numbers have changed drastically. But in the 2019 figures, we had about 429, 191 teaching staff, and about over 200 non-teaching staff. These numbers have changed, as I said. I'm sorry I couldn't supply you with up-to-date figures or this morning's figures. We have 7 schools, and on the Sunyani campus, we have the School of Natural Resources, Engineering, Sciences, Management Sciences, and Law, and the School of Graduate Studies. And then at Doma Hinkro, we have Agric and Technology and Geosciences. Now, what are we talking about with this whole issue of curriculum development, quality assurance, accreditation? I know once Violet is here, all the things I'm going to discuss, Violet can come in at a point to rescue me if I seem not to do this. In my work of line of work, I started this university as an assistant registrar at the Quality Assurance and Planning Unit. Now it is a Directorate of Academic Planning Quality Assurance. We started with Professor Biofuri, we operationalized the Quality Assurance Unit after going through several processes. So I have had some training also from the DAD, from the University of Duisburg-Essen in quality assurance in higher education institutions. So my little knowledge in that area is what I'm going to share. And then we'll quickly go to the case study, University of Energy and Natural Resources, how the issue of challenges with curriculum development and also accreditation threat. Now, we all know that curriculum development is a multi-stakeholder activity. And I think that is most important why we are all here from different or diverse fields today. This is a multi-stakeholder. And once we have this multi-stakeholder, we know there are contestations, there are misunderstandings here and there, and because of quality issues.
Hello, where is the problem?
I think it's internet connectivity is problematic.
Hello? Is it the speaker?
Hello.
I'm sure it might be connectivity issue.
Yes. But it was very clear. Okay, because we have a recording, whilst we are waiting for him, can we be talking about something so that this part of the recording will not just be a blank?
Okay, please.
David.
Go ahead, anybody.
Dave.
Hello?
Hello, Alfred.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah,
yes.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, go ahead. We want to occupy this space so that when he comes back, he can continue. So we want people to talk about what we have, what has already been presented, or
yeah. So, Doc, if you can share something, because this is your domain, quality assurance.
Okay, so basically, I just wanted to start with the issue that was raised by the gentleman in secondary school. He has raised a very, very pertinent issue that sometimes institutions and these high schools need to find some way of collaboration to check what is happening there. Because, what happens at kindergarten, primary school, and secondary school always feeds into the universities. So we can't ignore that at the end of the day, there is another collaboration which should take place there. Prof. John, can you mute yourself?
Okay, then let me close this.
Prof, mute yourself, Prof. Yes, so that is the important. Then in terms of quality assurance, accreditation, and curriculum, I just wanted to talk about something which I'm concerned about. I'm not sure if George is going to cover that. And it's good the dean is here, Prof. Kuno, you will take note, and other people from other institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, I've realized that in most universities, when I do quality assurance institutional evaluations, there are only a few people who are involved in program preparation for program accreditation and re-accreditation. And this is a cause for concern. Why should a few people know about a formulation of a program and the accreditation processes? I've also run a lot of quality assurance workshops in different countries where I've called the national accreditation bodies to make presentations. What has come out stunningly is that most of the people who have attended those workshops were in awe, utter awe and surprise on how the accreditation process takes place. It's from the formulation, the requirements, and what have you. Dean John, I just want to ask you, suppose if there are only 2 or 3 people involved in this, if somebody, you know, people don't want to talk about realities of life, but it's not scaring people. I always call a spade a spade. If somebody falls dead today, if they are sacked from the job, or if they have health issues which immediately incapacitate them from coming to the workplace, do we have alternatives? Who will do things that are being done by single persons in the institutions for us? Anyway, George is back, and so
Doctor,
Can I respond briefly?
Yes.
If you could give me the time. So because of this, we've seen the challenge. And so what we are doing now in our university is to require meetings, departmental meetings,
yes,
and school board meetings where the program has been discussed and approved before it comes to graduate school or quality assurance.
Not only that.
So the discussion, everybody should be involved.
Tell me that you have sessions where you are training all the staff on and education and awareness on what is involved in the program design, program review, program accreditation. What are the requirements? And you educate everybody, including the non-teaching staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's fine. So our quality assurance director has begun some moves in that direction. So the involvement of all members of the department, they will be exposed to the guidelines from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission regarding the approval, the initial approval of the program, as well as the courses. So the guidelines need to be made available to everyone, and everyone needs to be educated on it so that they can have a feel, they can be part of the whole process of developing the program.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, George, you can go on.
Yes, thank you.
You are muted.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for the break in. That our curriculum is up to date and is meeting the needs. Now, if we look at curriculum, and I'll say theoretically, I'm taking these things from the broader perspectives, and from there, I'll come to the case study of UNER, what happens at UNER. So our curriculum is addressing some issues. The curriculum is containing an array of things which include a philosophy of a program, how it is going to be taught, who is going to teach this. Then we have issues of even reading list. And now most importantly is technology. What sort of technology is going to help us to be able to implement this curriculum? The design stage has to consider all these things: entitlement, enrichment, teaching narrative, the breadth and balance. Then the curriculum has to include almost everything which will help students to be able to study something which will prepare them into the world of work. And that is why we say that it is the balance. When it excludes important component of what students are supposed to know and learn, then it is no longer balanced. Principles and purpose, and then review and evaluation, and then resources. So designing a curriculum also is a resource kind of issue, because it requires some resources. Designing your curriculum will tell you that you need a laboratory, you need a library specific for a certain area, and all other, including technology also as a resource, and human resources. So if we look at what curriculum is, it encompasses all these issues. That is why when the National Accreditation Board visits universities, they want to see that the curriculum developed addresses almost all these issues. And when you are lagging behind in one of them, they try to give you the opportunity to address this before you move to the next stage. Now, when I go to curriculum development, and I want to do this because I'll be talking about what happens at UNER, the challenges, or how it becomes then a threat to an institution here and there. You know, there are different types of curriculum. So we have the different types, which when you go into literature, you find so many people coming now with some nomenclature of what curriculum is. But here I would want to look at 4 different ones, which talks about the explicit one. It looks at subjects that will be taught and the knowledge and skills that the school expects successful students to acquire. And so mostly we find this in our document. In trying to go to the curriculum design, some of these issues are what it is and what strategy it follows for implementation. We have the implicit one, which comes from the culture of the school, and to form behavior, expectation, and that. But then I think the culture of most universities is not that explicit. It is difficult to really know the culture of the university. And if you want to design a curriculum, this type of curriculum, then you have to be careful, because your culture is not something which is tried and tested, which has been able to withstand all the pressures from the educational environment. Now we have the null curriculum and also the extracurricular experiences. I think this is an area where for what my experience in curriculum development, where we treat this as something that will take care of itself, extracurricular. And so the curriculum is designed most of the time looking at classroom activity or course-based or program-based activity, and not any of these things which try to enhance the students' learning experience. Now, with all this, we have the design, curriculum design. Curriculum design looks at overall strategy which is used in trying to operationalize what this curriculum is all about. And so we have 3 types here, which generally I will speak to: the subject-centered curriculum design, which mostly is about a subject area expertise, developing this subject area. I remember one program in Masters in Urban Management at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, where it is mostly people, town planners and urban managers coming together to design this program, which is evidence-based, which is market-driven, it is demand-driven, it is coming from those who are in there. And the operationalization or the teaching of this program is really dependent on each of the subject areas, specific, how it goes. That is how the curriculum evolves. Then we have the learner-centered curriculum design. I think this is a difficult aspect which we don't see here And it is one of the reasons why students are mostly not even included in part of curriculum design in most institutions. The national, the GTEC, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission will want to see that yes, students were part of it. I think sometimes it is cosmetic that we put that yes, students were consulted, but to what extent? So the learner-centered curriculum design, the overall strategy is that students determine what they want to learn and how they want to evaluate it and all that. So this, as the name, is centered so much on the learner and what they expect to go out there to succeed. And then we have the problem-centered curriculum design. The problem-centered, yes, presenting student a problem, then the student finding solutions, how to analyze a problem, and also to fix it. Beyond this, we want to go to the next part of which is about the learning, the connection between learning and then curriculum. Because the curriculum is giving the overall strategy of how a program is going to be operationalized, then you find that whatever is, if we go to student-centered curriculum, it tells us what sort of learning is going to take place. The same way, if we go to problem-centered curriculum design, it tells us what sort of learning that has to take place, and even what teaching has to also take place. Now, the traditional learning kind of strategy is to look at students to be told what they need to know, they memorize it, and then a problem assigned to illustrate how to use it. Mostly in this case, problem analysis, pure problem analysis, and how to apply solutions to resolve a problem is not seen mostly. And so, as Violet spoke about the interested in case studies because they will have to think through a case, come out with what is wrong and solutions, how to make things better. So if we look at the connection between and also the form of learning, if we have, they are all interconnected. That if accreditation processes are ongoing, we are looking at quality assurance processes, we need to see exactly what sort of learning is going to take place and what teaching will also help this learning to take place. Is it traditional learning or it is also problem learning? Now I will take you to the case study at UENR, the process of curriculum design or program development. And I will try to, having spoken about these generic issues, I will want to come home and speak about my case study. I know the case study presents some specific localized issues, but I know after this presentation, I will be making a point, which is that when we take these local issues, we can try to use them to understand how curriculum, the challenges with curriculum development on the continent and even beyond. Now at UENR, program development emanates from the department because the department own these programs, or the curriculum is for the department, which are in different subject areas put together. And so these departments have their subcommittees. They set up such subcommittees which go into developing the curriculum. And then this committee will hold a stakeholder meeting to solicit input into what makes this program something to address market emerging issues. Now, from the department, from this committee, it goes to the departmental board. And, you know, the university operates through the committee system. So it is not one part of it where curriculum will be developed while one professor or one person in a corner and brings it without being tested through this system. So the departmental board is the first point of call that considers this curriculum, will make some recommendations, and may refer this to the subcommittee that designed this curriculum to go back there and address certain things. This may be based on university strategic plan and strategic objectives. It may depend on government policy, or so many other factors are considered in this design. Now, the school board is the next level where, because the departments are all under schools, so the school boards will look at the curriculum at that level also and try to deliberate and make input and recommendations. Beyond this recommendation, if they are not satisfied, this document or curriculum may be referred back to the departmental board and even back to the committee, the subcommittee that designed it, to be able to address certain issues. Once the school board okays it, it goes to the Quality Assurance and Academic Planning Committee, which will look at it and make sure that all the content satisfies some of the issues I spoke about, the philosophy, reading material, a reading list, and all the resources, everything which the curriculum needs to address are addressed. And then the Quality Assurance and Academic Planning, based on its assessment, will defer this either to the school or department or to the first point of call, which is the subcommittee. And then it is a process which is iterative mostly before we get to the next one. So the academic Quality Assurance Academic Planning Committee will forward this document curriculum finally to the academic board for approval for onward submission to the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. It used to be the National Accreditation Board at the time, but now with the merger, it goes to GTEC. So once this is done, the university waits for an outcome, which I will address. Now, going through these processes, you could find that it is iterative. The point is that it is managed well, or it must be managed well so that the process doesn't stall somewhere. So as such. And so you find that the changeover from one head to the other means that some preparation already to UNER may be elsewhere, but generally these are some of the things which do not work in this whole process. The process can also be bureaucratic, as some departments have complained about the back and forth in trying to get this. But I understand that quality assurance is a critical area. And as I said, it's a multi-stakeholder. And so it is not for the faint-hearted, because whatever you put in there has to go through the mill and satisfy requirement. Now, the process, the curriculum design process doesn't end. It has to be accredited. A program or curriculum has to be accredited. And this is where we have another hurdle. So in the case of UNER, and mostly this, because we all come under one regulatory institute or external body, we have UNER completing the GTEC form, which is Form A3 for new programs and Form A6 for existing programs. When this is done, UNER pays for assessment fees to GTEC. GTEC empanels an assessment team to meet the university and inspect infrastructure and other requirements. And during this process, they also look at the whole curriculum, how it meets the regulators' requirement. Now, after this process, UNER receives in writing.
Mr. George.
Yes, please.
Mr. George, yeah, we're wrapping up for us, okay?
That is all right. So UNER will do these corrections and then resubmit the program to GTech for their further processes. And through their committees, this program or the curriculum is accepted or otherwise. So this happens there. And as I asked here, well, who are the stakeholders? The university, we have GTech and other stakeholders from industry who are consulted as part of designing this curriculum. Now, at what stage do students come in during the curriculum design process? Students, we have spoken about alumni, we have spoken about students and all that. How do we even make alumni part of the university? It all boils down to the fact that they must be incorporated into all these processes. They are here, they left, they have new experiences, they have a new viewpoint or angles where they see things from, and they serve as key stakeholders in this whole thing. Students, yes, may not be expecting this field, but if we look at the student-centered learning we were talking about, students are key to it. And UNER does well in including students in this part. I'm not too sure about alumni, but I know students or those who are still in school are made part of this process to listen to them. Physical costs in terms of money, and also the delays and all the other long processes which happen. And then excessive delays in granting accreditation, also being the last point here, which we look at. So if we look at these challenges are in effect affecting the university, how it has to operate, how it has to develop. And I know in as much as these are institutional specific, this may not just be limited to UNER and may be threatening or maybe serving as threat to accreditation process or curriculum design processes in other universities elsewhere on the continent or beyond. So ladies and gentlemen, from UNER, this is what I present to you on the topic. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Mr. George. That's a brilliant exposition. And I think Madam Akuku has a question.
Yeah. So
I was actually saying congratulations and thank you for a good presentation.
Thank you.
That's great.
But
that's
very
great.
quickly, I don't know, I would want to give others a chance, but I have two things to raise here. That first of all, regarding the challenges, it's a particular characteristic throughout the African continent that these accreditation bodies, they are well known for delays in the accreditation process. And at a point, I also engaged some of them, and they were talking about the issue of manpower, of reviewers, and these people who are involved in the process. And it's not good at all because people intend to, these are business entities also. So if you consider private universities, even state universities, we shouldn't take state universities for granted that because they are funded by government, so anything goes at what pace. No, these are also partly business entities. And so the minimum possible time should be taken to accredit the programs. For Ghana here, but I hear it's now going to be a thing of the past. What pained me since 2016 is that you find there were some institutions which were affiliated. Let's say UNE is affiliated to KNUST or to University of Ghana. Then when you design your program, you are giving them to say, since you are our mentor university, look at our program. And instead of them also looking at it, giving a note, either they take the program, next time they say, no, the program is not good, but next time you find they are now filing it for accreditation for them. But I think now it's a thing of the past. That thing, it used to nag me a lot, but I had last week something that is coming up that these mentor universities in the next, an institution should be standalone in about 4 years or so. Then the fragmentation, I'll take an example of Ghana. I take an example of Zambia. So you will find that, for example, here in Ghana, you now have the GTEC, but earlier you would have the National Accreditation Board and you would have the NCTE. And so maybe you would start by going to NCTE and you approve the budget and you pay something there. People in my workshops did not know that. People who were in the AAU workshops did not know that sometimes you are delayed because you haven't paid or the receipt is sitting with NCTE. So that fragmentation of not having things under one roof. For example, in Zimbabwe, they have the Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education. South Africa has got the South African Council for Higher Education. And within that, there are departments where once you submit, you know your things are moving within and under the same roof. So that one, the conflicts, the what which they sometimes have in decision making on whether to give you or not, it's so sad. Then under qualified personnel, sometimes you have people who are not even well qualified working where they need to accredit these programs. How can they accredit them when they themselves are not educated enough to, or even experienced enough? Because remember, they also have new staff. The third one is you need to take it with two hands that everybody who is in the university now should have at least the postgraduate diploma in tertiary education, a dual qualification in engineering and education, or mining and education, or agriculture and education. Because that education part is very, very key. Yesterday, I talked about the misinterpretation of the Bloom's taxonomy. It's people don't have the foundations of education, educational psychology, philosophy, philosophical foundations, and sociological foundations of education. If you don't know those, that's why there's a too much back and forth of your curricula or the program you want to accredit and what is being demanded by the National Accreditation Board. Because people who are trying to put together the program don't know anything about the foundations and what makes a good program, like Sir George has presented. So if you don't know what makes a good program and you are just trying to put things together, the back and forth delays a lot of things because you don't know. So embrace this thing of the postgraduate diploma in tertiary education. It's the qualification that is needed for somebody to teach anywhere. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hidden curriculum, the last one, sorry. Of the curricula, he pointed out there's something called hidden curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, even if we inculcate all those behaviors which we want in students, we are role models. If we are not behaving properly, if we are rough with them, if we don't dress properly, and if we don't do things properly, they won't do it well as well, because they are looking at you as a role model. Are you a timekeeper? Are you smart? Are you also doing things in the right way? So they will question, if he is not doing things in the right way, why should we do them in the right way? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Makuku. Is there any more questions for Mr. Jojanani before he leaves? Any more questions? Okay, then I use this opportunity to read some messages. We have a message from Dr. Engineer Tafazwa Mundundo. He said that the null curriculum refers to what students do not have the opportunity to learn. In this case, students are learning something based on the absence. Okay. And then we also have, is that, can you explain from ample ratios, that can you explain the null curriculum with an example? Okay. Anyway, that's okay. So I would want to open the opportunity for others to ask questions. If we have the likes of Dr. Abreu Riverson, are you online?
Yes, I'm online and listening with interest.
Okay. Do we have Mrs. Sibanda? Mrs. Sibanda, are you online?
Yes, I am.
We've not heard from you today. Do you have any question directed to Mr. George?
Not at all. I'm also listening with the interest. Thank you.
That's okay. Mr. George, is there any last comments you would want to add before we take the next session, please?
Yes, I would say I'm grateful for the comment from Violet and all the others. I think, yes, I'm seeing some examples and comment from Dr. Engineer Tafada Mudondo and all that. You know, yes, within this space of time, we can always discuss some of these things briefly. Yes. Going beyond that, I think what I just give, we don't have enough time, but I think the presentation basically raises some questions which we have to do. Our internal practices with regards to curriculum, what we exactly we need to put together, and also external bodies who help us ensure quality in the accreditation process who also have a role to play. It also raises the question of the current state of accreditation process, whether it is really something we have to overhaul and try to look at something else which works, or we have to just enhance what we have. These are questions which we can take further and discuss at another level. But at this stage, I will say I'm grateful to you for the time to present and also hear from others what they have their views on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that was a brilliant one. I think I see the hands of Dr. Makuku.
Yes, one key point, when you were offline, we talked about the issue of having few people being involved. I think it's important for you to hear that. Few people being involved in departments in the program design, program reviews, program formulation, and this is not good for the institution. Everybody in the institution, teaching and non-teaching staff, should have the education and awareness on every process involved until a program is taught in the lecture room. So it's important to do those sessions of how do we formulate programs, how do we review programs, and what is involved until we take a program for program accreditation. And you know what? This will be good for you people. The back and forth part of it also, it's because you have mentioned it that having young people or inexperienced people It means you don't have a succession plan to say today if an experienced person is not there to lead the process, who is going to do it? So let's think of succession plan by involving everybody, so that at the end of the day, if some people are not there, still the things of quality will continue to come up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Violet Makuku. You have been so much insightful with us, and we are so grateful. There is something unique happening at the University of Energy and Natural Resource, which is the UREC, that's the Earth and Observation Science, where we have a satellite system in terms of how to in terms of how we are able to use these satellites to also observe disaster management and then the climate change, which is something that is a unique thing we also have in our university. We would want to use this opportunity to call upon, that is Engineer Nana Eko Nkwase. He is the Ground Systems Manager, Regional Media Person, Webmaster for the Ghana Institute of Engineering, both between the Bono East and Ahafo. And he is also with the UREC department in the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Engineer Nana Eko Nkwa, you are online. Can you tell us a bit about what is happening at the UREC, please? Hello? Okay.
Hello?
I think you are online. Yeah, talk to us.
Hello?
Yes, you are online. You can talk to us.
Good afternoon. And thank you very much for the opportunity. So, as the moderator actually said, my name is Nana Ekorunkwase, and I'll be making a presentation on some of the activities of the Earth Observation Research and Innovation Center of the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani. So I'll first start by briefly talking about the university. I'm sure you've heard much about it. Mr. Anani briefly gave a description about the history and that. And so we operate under the following schools. So the School of Engineering, Sciences, Geosciences, Agriculture and Technology, Natural Resources, Management Sciences and Law, and then the Graduate School. Now in UENR, we have a unique approach in our programs and research, where we emphasize interdisciplinary collaborations and take into account areas of economics, so law, policy, management, science, technology, engineering, and a whole lot. And we look at issues that affect specifically energy and the natural resources. And the university currently has these ongoing projects and centers, so I'll talk briefly about them. So there's the RELAB project, and then the RELAB is talking about building resilience of Lake Busumche to climate change. This project is essentially researching into climate or climatic and then anthropogenic factors that affect Lake Busumche, and then seeking to recommend some solutions and interventions. Then there's the RC Center, which RC stands for Regional Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability. And this came about as a result of funding from the World Bank. And it's an African Center of Excellence, which is committed to providing quality teaching and learning research to advance development for future leaders, specifically looking at the discipline of energy and then the environment. Then there's the AISHA project, which is enhancing, AISHA stands for Enhancing Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Sustainability in Higher Education in Africa. And this project also seeks to equip graduate students with skills and competencies for employability and self-employment, which lives well with the theme for this conference. Then of course, there's the CSSC, which is hosting and organizing this program. So I'm going to go in there to talk about the unique activities of the UENR Centre and the ways that we make graduate students employable and some of the research activities we conduct that are policy-driven. And so UENR, as I've said, is the Earth Observation Research and Innovation Center. It's a research arm of UENR. And the center is specifically responsible for the acquisition of near real-time satellite-based data, airborne and then in-situ data, metadata and products. We're also into weather monitoring, weather forecasting. We do operations and management of unmanned aerial systems. Then there's a virtual regional fire monitoring and modeling lab. We organize training programs specifically into the use of EO, which is Earth observation data, and GIS techniques. We also offer consultancies and conduct interdisciplinary research in areas of water, disaster, health, energy, climate, agric, ecosystems, and then biodiversity. The center originally started in 2013 and was then known as the Joneska Center, rebranded in 2016 as Yorick. Here we have the vision, mission, and the divisions of the center. So the division currently has the divisions of the center. We have the satellite weather and climate, the unmanned aerial systems, the climate informatics, the advanced virtual fire lab, the virtual environment lab, and then the high performance computing unit. Let's look at some of the infrastructure that the center has and the kind of things we use it for. So this system here is what we call the EOS, and EOS stands for Earth Observance System. This antenna was the second to be installed in the university, and it was installed in 2015 as part with funding from the Skills Development Fund. And the project started off as a development for curriculum for the Fire and Disaster Management course in UENR. You can see some of the partners that we have on board. So there's the Ghana National Fire Service, the SIC Insurance, the Forestry Commission, NADMO, some international partners from CSI America in South Africa, and then the Canadian Forest Research. The system consists of a 2.4 meter dish antenna, which tracks satellites from both the low Earth orbit and then middle Earth orbit. And mainly those satellites are the NASA Aqua, NASA Terra, Suomi MPP, the NOAA 18, NOAA 19, METOP A, METOP B, and then the Chinese satellites, the Fangai 3B. The data that we receive at the center is level 0. And when we say level 0, we are referring to data that has not been processed. And so it is live transmitted from the satellites in space. Here we have the coverage area for the satellite. So even though the system is located in Sunyani in Ghana, it gives us a view of what is happening in the whole of West Africa, some parts of East Africa, and then also the Northern Africa. And 24/7, data is being collected from all these satellites that I've earlier mentioned, and then we use them for various applications and research purposes in the center. The second system that we see here is what we call the Joneska's reception station. So Joneska's was the first antenna that was installed, and how come our name was the Joneska Center before? And this is a 3-meter antenna that receives satellites from that receives data from satellites positioned in the geostationary orbit. And the information that is downlinked is majorly used for meteorological purposes, so for weather, climate studies, and forecasting. Then the third instrument that we have here is the automatic weather station, which was installed in 2014, and we use that in collecting the institute-based data for prevailing weather conditions around us to help us with our weather forecasting and then with other research activities. So with the data that we collect from the EOS system and then the Joneska system, we managed to build this service, which ran as a pilot project before. And we call this the Advanced Virtual Fire Information System. This system is an integrated ICT platform that is focused on prediction, detection, and then assessment of fires. And it utilizes a portfolio of satellites to provide both high frequency and then also high resolution active fire detections. And we use data from the EOS and the Joneska. The data is specifically from the MODIS sensor, which is on board of NASA Aqua and then NASA Terra satellites, and also the VERS sensor, which is on board the Suomi MPP satellite. And once we receive the level 0, which is the raw information, we quickly process the data, and then we get the fire hotspots, which we feed into the system. The AVFS platform also provides weather information for farmers and all stakeholders that were on board. So here we have a snapshot of the web application. And so farmers and stakeholders can ideally select a number of locations of interest. And once you do that, it triggers a notification alert. And whenever the system detects that there's a fire in a specified radius of your location of interest, you get the alert information. And also farmers get furnished with a 5-day, 6-hourly weather forecast to help them plan their activities and schedule. Sorry. Then we developed also a USSD application and a web application for farmers. So for those that are in poor data coverage areas, they can still have access to the data. The center also designed, as part of innovation, designed a portable radio receiver, and that indicates the weather and then fire danger indices to the users from for the user's location, and it specifically uses certain color codes. And so for the USSD and then the web mobile application, for a typical notification, it will give you the temperature, the wind direction, relative humidity, and other necessary parameters, as well as if there are the number of fires that have been detected around your locations of interest. This fourth system that we have here is what we call the Cosmic 2 ground station. Now, Cosmic stands for Constellation Observing System for meteorology, ionosphere, and then climate. And this forms part, the satellites in space form part of 6 remote sensing microsatellites. And this program is a follow-on from Cosmic 1, the success of Cosmic 1. And it's seeking to collect atmospheric data used for weather forecasting, climate monitoring, and space weather research. And the university with UENR partnering with NOAA. And NOAA is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, similar to what we have in Ghana Meteorological Agency. And other partners include the U.S. Air Force and then the Taiwanese National Space Organization, and also the University Corporation of Atmospheric Research, which is UCA, which is mandated to process the information. So Cosmic 2 utilizes a network of downlink stations that receive data and then route them for processing. And an interesting highlight is that there are 10 similar stations across the world, and UNER happens to be the only one in Africa that has this station for this particular project or this program. And also worth noting is that the Cosmic 2 ground station is capable of doing both downlink and then uplink. So downlink means it can receive information and it can also communicate with satellites in space. So the communication, usually call it the TTNC, which is telemetry tracking and then control. So in 2018, as part of our activities at the center, we were able to use this ground station with our partners who manage the station with us, that's the Atlas Space Operation, for communicating with the FalconSat satellite. And this satellite it's an educational satellite that was built by the U.S. Air Force Academy. And we used that to communicate to the satellite, more or less position it to its actual orbit in space after it was launched. Then the fifth system that we have here is the GNSS reception station. So GNSS stands for Global Navigation Satellite Systems. This was installed together with our partner UCA in 2018, and it's supposed to support the program of the Cosmic 2 and also other applications. The way the system works is that it works based on a satellite remote sensing technique, which we call radio occultation. And this uses GNSS. So GNSS are essentially GPS satellites. So we have GPS from the US, the Galileo GPS satellites from the European, the Beidou, and then other ones. So they measure received signals from low Earth orbiting satellites, and this helps us to profile the Earth's atmosphere and then the ionosphere. And we're able to get high vertical resolution and then global coverage with this data. Now, the high accuracy and then the vertical resolution of this GNSS radio occultation data makes it ideal for studying weather forecasting. Also, we can do atmospheric processing, climate modeling, and then model verification, and also do some research into space weather and then atmospheric research. So these are some of the things. So UENR is collaborating strongly with UCA to help us exchange this knowledge because it's quite new. And so there are a number of training programs and workshops that have been organized, and then it's helping us to transfer the information that these people know to Ghana and to Africa. So once we get all the information, one other thing that we do is that we churn out weather information to the university community and to people within the region. And I must say that we do this cautiously by stating a disclaimer, because we are a research institution, and in Ghana, the mandated agency to do that is the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And so we churn the information out with a disclaimer. Then the center also makes use of this satellite data and some models to do the forecasting and then the prediction of the weather conditions. and our models are very accuracy. We have like about 80% forecast accuracy. And we also display this information by some of these media outlets, including the university's radio station, Greener FM. The center, as part of the division, has the high performance computing unit. And so this unit handles essentially the storage of our data, the processing of the satellite data into our services that we render, and then also the management of all the data that is received. There are other things that we run, and then we run the weather models. We also assist students and researchers in computational fluid dynamics problems related to artificial intelligence models, deep learning tasks, neural networks related tasks that people want to do. And we also run certain special trainings under that, under the high performance computing unit as well. Then another system that we have is the ZY3 cloud service platform. Now, ZY3 is a high resolution Chinese satellite, and UNER happens to be one of the international nodes for receiving information from this platform. This project is also a partnership between the university and then SASMAC of the National Administration Surveying of the People's Republic in China. And the data is high resolution, and we're able to use this for mapping and then resource investigation. So since the satellite has the ability to generate multispectral imagery, and the data can be used for territorial research, we investigate and then monitor these things. And then we can also provide services on disaster warning and reduction of disasters, and also in terms of agriculture, in forestry, in water conservation, ecological environment, and then so on. So these are some of the application areas that we use this data for research in the center. The center also, as part of activities of most of these activities or projects that I've mentioned already are some ways of generating IGF. And specifically of interest is what we call the co-location services. So UNER currently provides co-location services for this antenna, probably called the SPIRE antenna, and this for the SPIRE Global Project. And when we say co-location services, we mean that we will provide land suitable conditions like power, backup power, security, and then technical services to people that are looking to install ground stations across the world in order to receive satellite data promptly. And this system is a 1.5 meter antenna which collects rich and unique data sets for the SPIRE project. The SPIRE project is also looking at specifically weather-related activities, promptly giving information about locations and that. So the technicians at work installed and then maintain this antenna and all other infrastructure that we have at the center. These services are rendered as a fee, aside from the research institution also getting some access to the data for research. We also charge some fees for these co-location services as well. Then an upcoming project is the carbon monitoring tower. So this project is between
Engineer, hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Engineer, so be wrapping up within the next 5.
Sure. So this project is between the university and then the Czech Globe Institute in Czech Republic, and this is supposed to enhance our research in typical tropical dense forest. And the station comprises of an eddy-current sensor, which will be mounted on this 70-meter flax tower that you can see. And the sensor is going to help us provide information on CO2 and then water vapor fluxes between the forest ecosystem and then the atmosphere. We also receive data for vertical profile of the air and then soil temperature and humidity, also radiation. As part of the project, we have 3 PhD students that are currently enrolled, I think in their final year. And also one technician has been trained to manage and monitor the station in the lifetime of the project. And as part of leveraging the information and using it to benefit of a policy, we also arrived at an MOU between UNER and then AIMS Ghana. And this is to commence a program in climate change and then atmospheric physics, which is scheduled to commence, I think, the next academic year. So those are some of the collaborations we have with other institutions as well. Then another UAS systems, we have the drones, and we offer trainings, the basic model, professional, the specialized areas. We look at drone mapping and surveying 3D modeling, precision agriculture, drone assembling and repair. Then to trainings, internships, and attachments. So this is where we more or less transfer the information we have and try to imbibe in students and then people that come around, researchers that come around, skills that will make them employable. And so the center offers a number of training programs and workshops. And these training programs are related in areas of Earth observation, GIS, unmanned aerial systems, deep learning, computational fluid dynamics, and then satellite technology. So UENR runs also a special satellite training program from basic to advanced level. And this program is modeled around GVF course. So GVF is Global GSAT Forum. And this is an internationally accredited satellite installer program. So once you have students, once you have people from outside who learn this trade, they're able to install GSAT. And GSAT are those antennas that you mostly see beside ATM machines. They are actually providing internet services. And so you can work for anybody outside that with that knowledge. The center is also open for people, self-motivated students, or people who want to enroll on our well-structured internship and attachments program, and where the attachees and the interns are taken through a series of technical and hands-on training and mentoring from our research fellows and our technicians. And so routinely during that period, we are given a task. You look through the data sets that are available. You come up with certain research topics or research areas. You do weekly presentations, and all these things build on your skills. Once you also enroll on this program, we take you through GIS training, some form of programming, some form of remote sensing techniques. We also do some satellite maintenance, monitoring, and all those, all our skills. So we've had over 30 or more students, interns from diverse universities, from UNER itself, from KN, USP, from UG, and even some international students coming around to partake in our internship programs. So thank you very much. And in a nutshell, that is what UENR is about. That is uniquely what UENR has to offer. And you have our contact information and the website for the information for more information. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Engineer Nana Eko Mkwa Say from UENR. Thank you so much. That's very insightful. And it means that UNER is also doing so well in the area of engineering and then satellite operation. Would like to take questions or any clarification, any partnership collaboration, or any source of funding for such projects and a brilliant support to such an information. Yeah, I want to see who is speaking before the next speaker will come in. The person of Rosemary Banda. We want to take a few questions before she will set in. I can see Madam Makuku is so much in love with your suggestion. Madam, isn't that
no,
the point?
I'm saying we are happy with the presentation. It was good. And if what he said about the things that they do, then there is the real practical orientation, which we always talk about, that for practical oriented disciplines, let us see more practicals in exams, assessments, in teaching and learning, and in everything that happens around that program, which is practical oriented. And so it's good.
Great. Yeah. Any more questions? I see one hand. Is it Kilian Asampan?
Yes, please.
Yes,
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer, for the presentation. I think during the presentation, you mentioned something about looking at vegetation cover over the period. I would want to know, how can we therefore look at the methods of say to our forest cover over the years, how it's been going, especially in these communities that we have these activities going on massively. Do we have data to look at how they have destroyed our forest cover over the years as evidence?
Yes, so we actually do. And some master's students have already started looking at using the data available. I think about 2 or so of them have even finished, and then they have their activities on those activities, and that's specifically using Earth observation data and then GIS techniques. So yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. I think we would like to take a last question. But then we will have to usher in Madam Sibanda to take the podium for us. So we quickly go and move on to the next speaker. Okay. So thank you so much, Engineer Nana Okonkwa. It's been great presentation, and we have seen what is happening at UREC and University of Energy in that sense of what you are doing, and then what you also want the world to know. I think it's very, very encouraging. So at this moment,
thank you very much, David, also for the opportunity.
Thank you too. Thank you too. So since time is not on our side, without much to do, we would like to recognize Madame Sibanda, and then we would want to tell a little of her profile. Madame Sibanda, we want to tell a little of her profile. Madame Sibanda.
Hello?
Yes, Madame Sibanda. I think she is a seasoned educationist and experienced CEO in financing field of entrepreneur and self-starter. She is passionate for research and development with a mission to change the quality of education in Africa. And she's one student at a time in terms of lifelong learner. Currently, she's studying for a doctorate in business leadership and strategy. And she is the founder of DGCSA, the first blended and first private teachers college in Zimbabwe. She happens to be the MD of fastest growing dedicated education financing, MF first ranked among up to 5 in Zimbabwe. She is married to Mr. Obert, and then with 4 children. And the spoken language is English, Ndebele, and then Shona, if I'm right. And she was born in 19th of January 1962. Areas of competence is strategy formulation, strategy implementation, quantitative analytical skills, risk identification and mitigation, innovation, and public speaking. Her professional qualification is in DBL, strategy implementation research, MSc, strategic management in Chinohi University, BD, teacher education, University of Zimbabwe. She is also a BCom financial management 2030 models completed in UNISA. And then she is also with an intermediate certificate in education, which is ICSA-Z. And also her work track has to do with the mathematics high school teacher. She has been in between 1985 to 1999. And with her business environment services, she's the founder and director of studies and operations in between 2000 to 2013. She is the Edulon Limited 2014. She was the managing director and local shareholder. Her board sitting has been with Zimbabwe Union of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She also has been a board sitting with Solusi University Council as past and reappointed currently. And she has also been the Zimbabwe Prisons and Coronational Service currently. And currently she is also with a language proficiency with English in Ndebele and Shona. In fact, there is so much we can't say about her, but she is really a stylus. Madam Rosemary Sibanda, we are honored to have you, and we say you are welcome. Have your speech, please.
Thank you, everyone. Can I be allowed to share my screen, please?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see. I can see.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'll proceed. Thank you for the kind introduction. I come from industry. I'm a passion in education. And I'm going to present building a strategic partnership between higher and tertiary education and also industry. I'm going to present a Zimbabwean perspective and bring examples of what has happened in Zimbabwe in that perspective, where I think it's a model that can be replicated anywhere in Africa and beyond. So I come from a position where we already acknowledge that the gap exists between academia and industry, and hence I'm not going to be explaining if the gap exists or not. But we are guided in Zimbabwe by a vision of a heritage-based higher education is to industrialization. So our philosophy is a heritage education founded by the time, and this has been taken up by the Higher and Tertiary Education Institute. Parity for Change came out of a skills audit. I remember Kuku speaking about for research-based activities. As a skills audit, which proved that in Zimbabwe, the literacy rate was 96%, skills were at 38%, so the gap between the literacy levels and the skills was 56%, meaning that our graduates were coming out without conceptualization of the purpose and context of higher.
Okay, I think I can see that Madam's network is somehow a challenge, but I know she will come on board. Dr. Makuku, since you have been with Zimbabwe and you know the nature of economy and the higher education institution performance, can you use this opportunity to say a little about what is happening as a Zimbabwean?
Generally, I can talk about what.
Sorry, can you see my screen?
Very good.
Yes, we can see you, please. Welcome back.
You see my screen? Can you still see my screen?
No, you should share again.
Yes, Karen, please share it with us.
Let me just try to share.
Coming.
Yeah, we can see the screen, please.
But I think you need to go back to earlier slides. This slide is far much ahead.
Okay, Madam Makuko, you can go. You wanted to say something, so while she's waiting on the slide.
Okay, let me. Yes, I wanted to talk about the beauty of the Zimbabwe education system. That at least there is one body, like what I've told you earlier, that there is one body which regulates quality and accreditation, quality assurance and accreditation in Zimbabwe, which is the Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education. So its departments are premised under one roof and under one CEO. And I think that is something very good. Is she trying to share? Let her try to share while I just continue. So in terms of accreditation, there is no such thing like accreditation conditions for private institutions and accreditation conditions for public institutions. All institutions are treated the same. Are you back? Can you unmute yourself, Mrs. Sisranda?
Yes, I'm back, but as I was trying to share, I think Alfred shared for me.
Okay, so go ahead.
Alfred has done so, yeah.
Okay, so this is the slide where we're at, is it?
The next one. Yes.
Okay, so Zimbabwe then undertook heritage-based philosophy, which is Education 5.0. So you can move. So there was a skills audit, like I was referring to Dr. Makuku, having said that there is need for research-based activities. So there was a skills audit which showed that there was a disparity between our literacy levels and our skills levels, the gap being 56% between the two. So there was a need actually to then bridge that gap, which is actually something which was leading to the mismatch between the industry, what industry could absorb and what we were offering from the higher and tertiary education. So the skills surplus in business and commerce was 121%. There was no clear path and philosophy for meaningful industrialization, and the bad conceptualization of the purpose and need for higher and tertiary education, with an economy characterized with poor university rankings. So from a business perspective, like I said, that I'm coming from a business perspective, I then assessed this as silos in our organization. In a business organization, if you're operating as silos with one function in a box somewhere, another function in a box somewhere, and everyone is minding their own business, the silo effect leads to a dysfunction in any organization. The silo operates strictly for its own benefit and not for the benefit of the whole company. So there's finger pointing in the process when problems arise, and silos have their own teams that are not thought of as part of a whole. So because of this, I then thought likely the higher and tertiary education and the industry, because of the debate that has been going on, we seemingly are operating with silos and hence are having these problems. And even part of the presentations that we've had through this conference, we're speaking about who is to blame at times. At times it was academics are doing their best, maybe industry is doing its best, but at the end of the day, that is not the question. Maybe the silo one with a higher and tertiary education busy producing human capital, but giving arm's length assistance to the industry, and the industry busy producing and making profits and thinking that any interns that come to them may be a disturbance to their silo or maybe to their value addition, and a risk actually, because if you're working with students, they may disturb you. So higher tertiary education and industry as functions of the same company should be viewed as functions of the same company with the same strategic intent, building the economy of Zimbabwe. So the company is called the economy, and we have got one strategic intent to build the economy. So if we're in silos, then we are not going to be able to build any economy in our own country, in Africa, or the whole world. So the more silos we have, the more inefficiencies we have. We risk duplicating our work. As we're training in the higher and tertiary education, the companies are also trying to run their own internal trainings, and there's duplication. There's wasting of time, incurring extra expenses, experiencing poor communications between departments, and silos erect data walls and information that can at times be not shared at the detriment of the company. I think Dr. Makuku was talking about that just recently. And then frustrations arise, and we have delays in productivity, which will impact on our bottom line, which is the economy. So hence the birth of Education 5.0. If you look at that diagram there, it shows one person on one end, the other on the other end. If we keep our distance and don't bring the block together to bring this together, then we end up with a problem. So we're looking at it as though we are working for the same company trying to build a bridge, and there's just one small block which remains for us to put there for our bridge to be complete. So we used to have work-related learning, which we still have in most of our institutes. For instance, for a 4-year degree, we have a 2-1-1, 2 years in college, 1 year in internship, and 1 year back in college. But we've been speaking so much about agility. By the time you go into the field after 2 years of theory, there's a lot that has changed in the field. By the time you go back to the field after graduation, after a year back in college, again, a lot has happened. So that model, why it's working quite well, it also does have gaps in itself because there is no agility. So programs seem to make a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, we need agility. We need to be kept abreast with what is happening on both sides so that we are not in silos. It actually creates a silo of its own, of a separation of theory from practice. So next slide. Next slide, please. So bridging the gap was necessary in Zimbabwe, and hence the adoption of Education 5.0. The higher and tertiary education in Zimbabwe traditionally was focused on 3 missions, that is teaching, research, and community services, which was a consultancy, and it was analogous as Education 3.0. However, there has been a change in order to deliver a competitive and modernized Zimbabwe. The ministry has added 2 additional missions, that is innovation and industrialization, effectively reorienting Zimbabwean education to Education 5.0, allied to the Zimbabwe National Qualifications Framework. I remember on day one, a speaker referred to where are the African industries, and this is exactly what Education 5.0 in Zimbabwe is trying to address. You can go ahead. Next slide. Next slide, please, Alfred. So in this slide, you can see the relevance of, go back, that slide. The slide with a green picture, the back, just go back 2 slides. Yes, the relevance of education in Africa in general and in Zimbabwe in particular has been an extractive culture. For instance, we do have a lot of things that are created out of things that are done in Zimbabwe or in Africa. We have phones, we have guns, we have private planes that are made out of materials made out of Africa, and yet we don't produce any of ourselves on our own. So this is the drive of Education 5.0, so that we don't have an extractive culture even when we have higher and tertiary education institutes. So we are actually having higher and tertiary education institutes that are assisting in making sure that our industry are not only extractive, but they end up with a producing industries where we don't export raw materials only, but we actually create things through education. So you can go to the next slide. So through Education 5.0, there's been innovation, and innovation continues to grow in the institutes. The strategies being to incubate knowledge-based, growth-oriented enterprises by establishing innovation hubs in universities and institutes of higher learning. I'm glad that amongst us in this conference today, we've got a lot of Zimbabweans, and 2 that I will mention at the end, who I know are heading Polytechs, one from Harare Polytech, the other from Mutare Polytech, who are actually with us here, who can testify to the innovation hubs and things that they are doing. Most of the questions maybe you can ask, they should be able to assist me. And also the bringing in of Education 5.0 was meant to complete the value chain, to process the ideas from innovation hubs into finished products and market by establishing industrial parks in all provinces, and also to develop the usage of virtual and augmented reality technology capacity through joint ventures. So next slide, please. I'm really rushing through so that I can get to a point where you can see some examples of how this has worked. So the innovation hubs that have been built, those are actually real pictures from the University of Zimbabwe. That is a innovation hub on the left, and then from Harare Institute of Technology, that's another innovation hub there. So innovation hubs are being built around the universities, and they've actually started proving to be their worth. So the intent of, okay, let's go to the next slide. The intent of industrialization, just the next slide, please, is to refurbish and retool workshops, laboratories, libraries for higher and tertiary education. Please go back to the last slide. Go back, please, Alfred. Go back. I was still explaining industrialization. So the purpose of this is to refurbish and retool the workshops so that they're able to work as industries as indicated. So there is need to expand the higher and tertiary institutes in order to end up industrializing. If you look at the picture which is on the left there, whereby there's a programmatic approach with a product in the end. So whenever we're working on products and we're studying at university, there's a product that we're looking at the end, which is targeted there. And you can see that we are hitting the bull's eye by that target. So go on. You can go ahead, Alfred. So that's a recap. Those slides I clipped from the other presenters. The presenters will recognize them. What was career readiness is presented yesterday, the school skills that students want. And I think some of those things came out today as a null curriculum and things like that. But also there was a need to make sure that some of them may be not taught in the school, but taught in industry. How do we make sure that we can monitor that is really happening? So like things like customer service, digital citizenship, professionalism, business communication in a seamless way while communicating while you are in school. So this is where Education 5.0 was leading to a target, leading to industrialization. So let's go to the next slide. So the ministry, then the government sponsored innovation hubs in 5 universities as mentioned, and with an intent to incubate knowledge-based growth-oriented enterprises by establishing hubs in all state universities and institutions of higher learning. The intent was also to complete the value chain to process the ideas from innovation hubs into products for the market by establishing industrial parks in all provinces. And I think those other two I've already mentioned them. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. So now I would want to show you Education 5.0 in action. This is where I was rushing to. And I took a case of Chinhoyi University of Science and Technology, CAT. And one would be wondering, why is it not a lecturer from CAT presenting this? But I needed to present this from my experiences. CAT is my alma mater. And also, if you look at CAT is one of the universities that have followed through on the Education 5.0. Real industry problems. And that's one of the solutions that we really feel that should bring a change if we're going to be solving real life industry problems. So there was a problem where there was a need, and there is a need to grow the national herd, the cattle herd in the country. So farmers could not grow the herd on their own because there were no quality bulls. And if they were there, they were not sufficient. So the solution, there was a national artificial insemination program which was started at Chinhoyi University. I'll call it CAT in short. That's what you call it, CAT. CAT University partnered with the veterinary department, the agricultural research extension program, and the ministry to produce quality bulls through artificial insemination and growing the national herd. The aim was to help local cattle farmers to improve the size and genetics of their herds while generating profits and exporting the semen and straws. And I think this now speaks to for Africa and beyond. And the pilot has been successful. It started as a pilot, and now it's actually being done in the country, targeted both commercial and communal farmers. So the result was that the CAT University agriculture graduates are being sought after. CAT University graduates running successful farms. CAT University services being sought and trusted. And there's an approximation by the government, an estimation that this venture can actually bring quite a lot of revenue. And I've quoted there both in dollars and in rands, which is about 2.2 million in rands. And then CAT benefits from Zimbabwe manpower development and capacitating universities. Then the university itself then was also capacitated prior by a Zimbabwe Manpower Development Fund, where companies, where the corporates, where industry contributes 1% of their revenue to the building of this fund. So companies contribute to ZimDev, and then the institutes benefit from ZimDev, and ZimDev is the one which pays students on internship so that the companies don't feel burdened. So CAT benefit from the first hotel facility, which was capacitated by ZimDev and was built to capacitate training in the tertiary institutes. CAT now has 3 SBUs. It started with one built by ZimDev. It has grown because it is a commercial entity to have 2 other SBUs, which makes them 3 other SBUs. 2 were funded from the university. So CAT Hotels, they have 40 employees, and of which 25 of these are students at any given time. Students do the tasks, which is what interested me, because I was interviewing the manager who was here the whole morning, but I think he left because he had to attend to something else. But he may be back at any time in the conference. So students do tasks from the lowest, the general hand, through the value chain, through the whole rank, from general hand to cleaner, until they become duty managers by the time they graduate. So when they go to the field, they are very valuable and knowledgeable of all the things that happen in a hotel. There's an integration policy where management from the hotel also assesses courses, research, and recommendations are tried at the hotel, and results are shared. Hotel staff also participates in course content and stakeholders with a permanent seat on the board. There's interaction between hotel and academics every semester, and through an appointed integration coordinator with the hotel manager. And the hotel itself actually carries out the trade tests for other hotels, because it's linked to the school. They trust the academics, and when they want their people that are working with them, when they want people that are working in their hotels to come and be trade tested, they are tested at the CAT hotel in conjunction with the lecturers at CAT. So there's a lot of trust from a graduate from CAT who is going into industry. Can you go on to the next one? So the Shinoe hospitality degrees brings the hotel to the schools. They operate as teaching laboratories. Remember, we said that the industry is not, let's just go back. Remember, I indicated that the industry, just go back to that slide. I indicated that the industry at times is busy trying to make a profit, and that they don't want to take the risk of taking a student and trying out with a student. They also don't want to spend time teaching someone. They want people who come on the job and add value. But then the hotel is willing to have the students being trained under a close watch. So while